Morning, all. I wouldn't go outside if I were any of you. It's chilly. Yeah, it was, Paul. That'd be a great show behind. I saw it there touring together. I've seen both separately. I've seen Billy Joel a couple of times. I've seen Sting once solo, once with the Police.
Sting is great. I mean, so is Billy Joel, but Sting just underappreciated. Here's a question for you. This was a hot debate at my Thanksgiving with my family. Billy Joel or Elton John? Who would you rather?
Well, they toured together for so long.
Yeah.
People don't realize what a good showman Billy Joel is.
Yeah.
Because that's really a tough call. I'd go Elton John because then I don't have to hear Allentown.
That's a good.
Because he's going to play it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Course.
He's going to play Allentown.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, this song sucks.
Yeah. I said 51% Billy Joel.
All right.
I mean, it's right there. I don't really care either
Who
way.
would you go see? You could pick one, Billy Joel or Elton John.
Elton John.
I'm with you. And I told him the only reason is that way I don't have to listen to Allentown.
And I love Billy Joel.
I do too.
And Billy Joel's
my
from
favorite artist.
Right. Billy Joel's from my, neck of the woods, so to speak. But no, Elton John's amazing.
But so is Billy Joel in concert. People don't realize how much he runs around. I mean, he's old, but I mean, he used to climb the light stations and hang upside down. I was stunned when I saw him as to what a showman he was.
But to me, it's Elton's Rolodex. I mean, Billy Joel's Rolodex is great, but like you said, Allentown would come on and you'd go, oh, for God's sakes. I don't know if Elton plays anything.
The only thing Elton plays that would bother me, I'm not a fan of Candle in the Wind.
Well, he doesn't do it. Oh, well, that's true. He does do it, but he doesn't do the Diana version. Got it. Okay. Right. Yeah. Elton John was amazing. Yeah. Saw him once.
I saw him here at Hertz.
Wow.
Just a piano, just Elton and the piano. It was a very different type of show.
Huh.
Intimate. Those are the best. Those are the best ones.
The show that amazed me that I saw, that I took my wife because she wanted to see it and I didn't have a lot of interest, that was great. It was really good. It wasn't great. It was really good. Barry Manilow. You don't when he did the 10-minute commercial jingle routine that he has in his show, and you're like, oh my God, you wrote that? Wait, you wrote that? God.
That's a commercial jingle.
He
wrote stunning
commercials that he wrote,
and you're just
epic, legendary commercials.
Yeah, like stuff when you hear.
Like I think he did the McDonald's jingle. Like I mean,
did he do Coke?
It's like big ones, and it's like he wrote all of them. You're like, what?
See that's entertaining in and of itself.
Right,
all his music.
He tells a story about then he'll stop. He'll tell a story leading into the next jingle, and it's like no. And boy, do women love Barry. They've always loved gay men.
Yes.
It's that Eddie Murphy routine. God, that is so funny. 40 years later, that's funnier.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hey, in certain parts of Florida, it went right past chilly to cold. Be prepared this morning and even tomorrow morning. So we start the show with a warning before asking, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Were you, Mark, and your dog ready for when you opened the door this morning?
David, I knew it was coming, so I was ready. I don't know if the dog was ready. I told the dog, it's a little cold out here. We're going to have to hurry this up this morning. But he didn't seem to acknowledge that statement from me. But I was in layers walking out the door, ready for this brisk Southwest Florida air that we have this morning.
You ever just take a mulligan and not walk him?
No, you can't.
You can't. Do it all over the house. So Frank got to the door with his Starbucks and his smokes, thinking he was just going to go for a leisurely thing, and he got outside, looked around, and go, I got to get rid of one of these. We got to take care of business.
It was, everybody was in a hurry this morning.
It's well, I live in Jacksonville. It's in the 30s. And Mark's in Southwest Florida, where I believe the first digit in certain areas have hit a 4. Yes. I believe where Mark is sitting, it's currently 5-0, but not that far to the north. The first digit is a 4. Never mind in Lake City and Jacksonville this morning and what have you, where the first digit is a 3. And the second digit in certain places is in the mid. It's surprisingly close to freezing in certain areas of this state. Yeah.
Yuck. I told Trent, I said, winter's here. It'll be over by Friday.
Right. Gear up for it there, young lad. It'll be brisk.
Yeah, and I said I'm going to have to hear from my Michigan friends and family who are going to chastise me for thinking it's cold when it's 45 degrees. And Mark said, why don't you just send them a picture of your pool?
That's all you do. Anytime you get grief about how you can't handle the cold, go to the beach, take a picture, send it north.
Totally. Never forget my first Thanksgiving in Florida. We took our pictures standing in the Gulf of Mexico, sent them out to everybody. Folks in Fargo loved that. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Let's get over the hump together, shall we? As we are about ready to put November to bed and head into December. I'm telling you, it's been a remarkable sports year. Remarkable. I do feel as if this year's gone just a touch faster than some of the others recently. Maybe it's because it was so damn good sports-wise, and things are still heating up. Mark, I'm not saying that you watched. I'm not saying that you paid attention, because I didn't. And I really don't have any interest in what I'm about to bring up. But this in-season tournament has brought about one thing to American sports, which we have all wondered, is this a road that sports could go down, which is the aggregate scoring.
Well, and I did not watch your Knicks game.
Right.
But this morning and watching highlights and getting ready for the show and watching a few videos, the one thing I caught was the Knicks players going, we've got to run it up.
Right.
They were aware of what needed to be done. They went European soccer in the second half last night.
So it's an awkward situation. The Knicks played Charlotte. The two coaches are very good friends. And so the Charlotte coach, because they're getting beat by around 20, and he empties the bench with around 4 minutes to go. Well, the Knicks coach never empties the bench. In fact, he's been criticized for it. I mean, he'll be up 25 with 90 seconds to go. He'll still have his starters on the floor. And so he empties the bench with 2 minutes to go because he thinks, they got enough cushion. I can stop now. And he gets a mock cheer for emptying the bench with 2 minutes to go. That's how much, Tom Thibodeau just plays the guys to the end. Well, did you see what happened in Boston? Boston was a little crazy. So the Celtics are playing the Bulls, and the Celtics are whacking the Bulls, as you would expect. One team entered the game 5-13. The other team entered the game 13-4. And by the way, quick sidebar, I think Billy Donovan's about to get fired. And if that happens, I don't know if he gets another NBA job. And I just wonder if Billy Donovan ends up back in college basketball next year, or if Billy just does television. Billy would be excellent.
Great. He'd be great.
Yes. Back to the Celtics and the Bulls. So the Celtics are up 32, Mark, with over 7 minutes to go. And they start hacking, I think it's Andre Drummond of the Bulls, who's a terrible free throw shooter. They're up 32. Billy Donovan looks over at the Celtics coach like, what the? And they literally meet at half court while Drummond is shooting free throws. And he's like, the in-season tournament, we got to win by at least 23. And Donovan's like, well, you're up 32. And he's like, yeah, but a way that I guarantee we're going to win by at least 23 is to foul that guy because he'll never score. And Billy's like, oh, okay, got it. So they literally had to talk. And Billy, after the game, he said, wasn't crazy about it, but I get it. And so literally they did, I think it was Drummond. It was hack a Drummond, like 3 consecutive possessions for the Celtics to ensure that they won by 23. They won by 27. They advanced in the in-season tournament. Whew. I know Celtics fans around the country, Mark, were really worried they weren't going to advance in the in-season tournament.
I would like, and we need to do this throughout the show, 21,000 is the text line. I know the way the Twitch chat room feels about the in-season tournament. Are there people out there who were fired up about the in-season tournament? Yeah. I need to hear from you.
Are you watching? It's okay, by the way. It's okay if you're watching.
But there's watching, and yeah, I mean, watching and someone going, oh, yeah, they've got to win by 23 tonight. You know, I mean, last night I put on the Heat and the Bucks because it was a good game.
Right.
2 good teams. The in-season tournament wasn't the reason why I put that game on. I put it on because it's 2 teams that I expect to go far in the East and maybe see each other in the playoffs. Yeah, well, that was a good playoff game or a good regular season game for late November.
There's a lot of people that just watch it because, like you said, they're just regular season games still, even though they count towards the in-season tournament.
But the numbers are up.
Yeah. But there is a good section of the fan base that just, like you said, it's Heat Bucks. I'm going to watch that anyways.
The one thing that we pointed out, and Trent, I don't know if it was like a day before you started, but whenever this in-season tournament started, I think it started on a Friday. The games were incredible. Like, the guys came to play that night all throughout the league. Virtually every game in the league was 8 points or less. I mean, they showed up. They went after it. The games were excellent. And it was like, wow. And for some of us of a certain age, it's kind of like, oh, you mean the 90s? Oh, okay. But I digress. So, Mark, they seem to be like Julius Randle of the Knicks last night, had his best game of the year. Asked afterwards, he goes, was it about the in-season tournament? He goes, well, I have to admit, we know if we keep winning, we go to Vegas, and I love Vegas.
So Vegas and a little extra cash. I mean, basically Vegas and spending cash to blow while you're in Vegas is what this tournament's about.
Pretty much. So we're down to the quarterfinals, though, Mark. 8 teams have advanced. Now, here's the funny thing. So the 8 teams are going to play games next week. And then, obviously, the winners play each other again. And the semis and the finals are in Vegas, apparently. Finals are on ABC on Saturday, by the way. Army-Navy Saturday has got the finals of the in-season tournament. Like, this is a thing. I mean, take it easy, guys.
Well,
but okay.
Now, David, that is a little bit of old guy on the porch, get off my lawn right there. Oh, well, they're putting this on Saturday, Army-Navy. I know how much you love the Army-Navy game.
I do.
And I think this is a little shot because you're afraid deep down that this game will do a number to affect. It won't be better than the Army-Navy game, but it will affect the Army-Navy game's number, and people will be watching this perhaps instead of the football.
No. Army-Navy's at 3, the game's at 8. No.
All right. Okay, well, then it's...
Although, you know what I am worried about, quick sidebar, I'm worried about how much longer Army-Navy is going to be a standalone. I'm worried that when we go to 12, I mean, is the college football world really going to give up an entire weekend to Army-Navy like they've been? I don't know. So
but
also,
they've got to start somewhere with this.
Right.
I mean, they're putting out ABC. They're treating it like a big deal. You and I are not. But if you're going to have this event, you can't poo-poo your own event. You have to treat it like it's
true.
Deal, and that's
You're
what
right.
doing.
You're right. I should be admonished.
No, right? I
no, you did the right thing. You did. You did.
And you and I are on the same side of the in-season tournament.
Right. Okay. I mean, but then again, you and I are also into new ideas. We're like, okay, give it a shot. Do it for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. Take a vote at the end of the decade, whether or not you want to continue to do it. Yeah. Okay, sure. Fine. But here's the funny thing. So you got the 8 teams that have advanced. Well, what do you do with the other 24? They literally had to sit down last night and go, well, we got to schedule at least one game. And so, Mark, on Wednesday of next week, Orlando's at Cleveland and the Heat are in Toronto. These games were not on the schedule. They had to make them up last night. They're like, okay, you guys didn't advance. So the 24 teams that didn't advance, okay, you're all going to play each other.
So then after the knockout round, quarterfinals are a knockout round, they're going to have to schedule another one-off for everybody.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. There will be 4 teams that will play an extra game, and then there will be 2 teams that will play another extra game. But what is interesting is, you know how like sometimes in baseball with the interleague play, certain teams in certain divisions have a little bit of a tougher draw at the end of the year. Well, you could have that in the NBA, where you end up playing in makeup games and what have you. Like Denver's playing the LA teams 8 times, and like 6 of them are in Los Angeles, as it turns out now. So, you know, it'll be interesting how it shakes out. Like the Knicks have to play Milwaukee in the play-in. Well, who wants an extra game against Milwaukee if you're trying to make the playoffs? And so they're on the road also. And they had to play Milwaukee on the road in the in-season tournament. So, you know, just little tidbit. So, yeah, we're fouling players intentionally in late November, up 32 because of the in-season tournament.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ryro, go in and buy some jewelry and tell him.
Well, Paul, here's the irony. It's brand new turf this year. Now, listen, they've always gotten the turf wrong in Jersey. Original Giant Stadium, it was cement. Right, I'm in New York. There you go. But, and then, yes, they're going to either cover the turf or tear it up in the World Cup in 2026.
The anniversary went fine. A couple dozen flowers, massage, looked like a champ.
Mark knows how to do 57 minutes or less. He's a pro.
Nice. Thank you.
Unfrosted Pop-Tarts have more calories than frosted? I know they have less taste. Aha! Aha! Thank you, Deepakowitz.
Level 2 seat warmer morning, Adam. I'm not going to lie. In fact, I'll save this. I'll save this for this segment just to show how soft I am.
Okay. I'll bring up my body double at 7:21. I do love getting in the rentals in the north, and they've got the scraper in the car, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
I'll tell you what, these new Capital One credit cards, the metal credit cards, I wouldn't even need a scraper anymore. I could do damage with this thing. Come on, who hasn't used a debit card as an ice scraper before?
I used my first credit card. My first car was hand-me-down. Not exactly in the best condition. Born and raised, huh, Paul? Boy, you're a rarity.
Well, the best part, Paul, is they sneak the girl from Saturday Night Live, and she's the one at the shoe store. I think that's the subtle little part of that. That's great.
I don't think I've seen it.
Travolta as Santa, the Capital One commercial.
That is a great commercial. He's still got it, too.
Of course he does.
That's not a stunt double. He's dancing.
Of course he does.
He's been avoiding the paparazzi for 40 years.
How, I don't know.
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? I'll tell you how you are. If you've gone outside, you're cold. For Florida, this is cold. Hell, it's not even technically winter.
Going to be a long winter in Florida this year if this is what we're going to get.
I know. We could get 9 to 11 days of winter if this is how it's going to be in the late fall. Man.
Told Trent when I walked in, I said, welcome to winter. It'll be over by Friday.
It's in the 30s in the northern part of the state. It's in the upper 40s and very low 50s south of I-4. Bundle up. Get ready for walking the dog this morning. Add a layer and some socks.
So as the sun went down, the temperature started dipping a little bit yesterday. And I had my daughter's soccer practice last night. And I had on tennis shoes and shorts, T-shirt, and a pullover, you know, a warm pullover. I thought I was ready for this because it was 60 plus degrees.
Right.
And it might have dipped below 60 by the time, but there was a little breeze. And by a little breeze, there was enough breeze that it made it cool. And I'm watching every other parent in 5 or 6 layers. And the one mom says, I think I'm going to my car to put my heated seats on.
Come on. Come on.
She didn't. But when she said that, about 20 minutes through the hour-long practice, I said, I'm freezing. And I said it to myself, no one else. Right. And they're talking amongst themselves, the parents. And I just kind of said, why do I need to be here? And I went to my car and sat in my car for 20 minutes with the heat on.
Not the heated seats, but
I don't have heated seats. If I would have had heated seats, they would have been on, David.
Wow. What has happened to you?
My daughter made such fun of me. We got in the car after practice, and I wanted to turn the heat on, and she is yelling at me to not turn the heat on.
Good.
She's in short sleeves, making fun of me.
Yeah.
Saying, what's wrong with you? It's hot out, Dad. It's hot out.
Yeah. Give it to him, Maddie. Go. There you go.
But as Paul says, we can take hurricanes, no problem. Cat 1, Cat 2, that's a party. Dip those temperatures around 50 degrees, all hell breaks loose in this state.
I will say Paul in our Twitch chat room is a true Floridian, born and raised. Okay, so he apparently considered last night when the sun went down 58 degrees, quote, cold, unquote. Man.
In long pants.
Well, yes. I mean, Mark, it was 49, 50 degrees when you were walking the dog this morning. Long pants are allowed. Even I'll allow you long pants without giving you a hard time. Socks?
Socks, long sleeves. I've even brought a jacket in case I get too chilly.
Wow.
I feel like I'm 97 years old.
Listen, when it's colder outside than it is in that studio, man, is it cold. I will say, I did put on a new pair of jeans this morning. I bought them a few months ago. Why I hadn't worn them, I don't know. But shocked my wife. My wife goes, wait a minute, you have on modern clothing. That's how she described it. Modern clothing. I thought pants were still in, but apparently not mine.
Modern clothing.
Modern clothing. Huh. It's good to know. So Rob in our Twitch chat room is taking us in Orlando where it's 41. And he said, well, I just moved down from Ohio. So, it still seems normal to me. Yeah, it's not, Rob. It just people are going to be dropping like flies around you this morning. They're not going to be able to handle this.
Iguanas falling from trees. This could be detrimental in and around South Florida.
So are you now convinced that Florida State's going to be in? That playoff committee, they only have one more week on the company credit card. I mean, so the season's coming to an end. A whole bunch of sad faces in the greater Dallas area. They only got one more weekend bender. Don't know who's paying for it, but Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, that's who's in the playoff if the playoff was this weekend. Be Georgia, Florida State, Michigan, Washington. So 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams. I crack myself up sometimes.
I am at a much more confident lean that Florida State is in.
Not ready to declare? Like we declared the AFC East, the NFC North. What other division? Didn't we make 3? Did we give it to the Chiefs?
We gave it to the Chiefs.
We gave it to the Chiefs. So the AFC West, the AFC East, the NFC North, they're over. They're done. Okay.
I have a very strong lean. I loved the committee chair's comments about Florida State. Well, the quarterback's up, but they've got some dudes on that team. I mean, he's been watching and listening to talk radio enough to quote Bud Elliott.
I was going to say, was Bud Elliott on the playoff committee selection show last night?
I feel like he was the Pat Kerwin to Bill Cowher of the CBS NFL Today show. Like he was in the background. Hey, just say they've got a bunch of dudes on the team. That line will carry a lot of weight.
Did he really go dudes?
Dudes.
Well, then this is the sharpest committee we've ever had. Oregon, by the way, ahead of Ohio State, which now come up with a scenario. Let me ask you this.
Here's my question, and I'm being serious with this one. I guess they're saying that Ohio State's 2 wins, Notre Dame and Penn State, are better than Texas's 1 win.
Yes. Right now. Now, I don't know how much credit.
That's fascinating to me.
I don't know how much credit Texas is going to get for beating Oklahoma State on Saturday. So it does beg the question. Obviously, the winner of the Pac-12 title game is going to stay ahead of Ohio State.
Correct.
But let's just say Florida State loses. Georgia, Michigan, Pac-12 champion. Who's next? Today, Ohio State's 1 slot ahead of Texas. Do we think they'll remain ahead of Texas?
I don't.
So you think Texas, by beating Oklahoma State, but being a 12-1 conference champ, that they will slide them ever so gently ahead of the Buckeyes?
There you go. The 2 key words, conference champ. That'll be their talking point to work Texas ahead of Ohio State.
Let's be honest. It's not 2 words. It's 1 word. It's Texas. That's the only reason why it's happening, in my opinion. If it was TCU, do we think it's happening?
No. If it's Oklahoma,
happening. Right. Anybody else in that conference? No.
Colorado next year?
That'd be fun. That'd be fun just for the pressers leading up to the semifinal. Well, we got to put Colorado in. Why? Think of Dion for 2 weeks leading up to it.
By the way, their OC left for the head coaching job at San Diego State.
Yeah. Well, he was definitely leaving.
Oh, I know, but just
he got demoted, 2/3 of the way through the season. So he left the head coaching job on a MAC to go call plays for Dion. Dion demotes him 8 games in. Seriously? That's who I wanted the Gators to hire. I wanted the Gators to hire as defensive coordinator the Mississippi State coach, Arnett, who got let go, and Sean Lewis, the Colorado OC, who got let go. But since he's getting a head coaching job, that's obviously a little better than an OC job.
In the SEC?
Well,
he is pretty similar.
True. San Diego versus Gainesville?
I know.
Okay. Besides, not sure how much job security you got there in Gainesville. Yeah, your head coach, San Diego State, figure you got at least 3-4 years. The starting 5 is next. Bundle up while listening to Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey, y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Now, all risk. You can't rope me in with that now. Come on. I'm tough. I walked to and from the Vikings game yesterday. It was 13 degrees. Come on now.
Skull.
That is kind of neat, actually, that they're 90 seconds before kickoff.
You know where they got that from? It's from the Iceland men's soccer team or something like that. It's like it's a thing they actually do over in the Nordic part of the world. And they just were like, oh, that's cool. So often, that's what American sports do. Oh, they do that over in Europe. Let's do that. By the way, the 8 teams that are in the knockout round, 4 from each, like in the NBA in-season tournament, the average seed is 5 in like the real standings. So these teams, I don't know. The numbers kind of say they care. Like in the West, it's the Kings are the 6, Pelicans 9, Lakers 7, Suns 4. They don't even have a top 3 team in the West in the in-season knockout.
Golly, that's a headline. Cape Coral woman arrested for crashing into car and throwing cinder blocks at victim while drunk.
Is that a good, bad, ugly?
Oh,
preview?
yeah.
Man, that's a lot of effort right there. Throwing cinder blocks. Is that
also a lot of time to dodge it?
That would seem tough to do accurately.
Well, it's a 2-hand operation for sure.
All risk. I won't even have a jacket on today. I'll just let my fat take over.
I thought I'd gained enough weight to get through practice last night, but apparently I hadn't, David.
Apparently, no. Well, so you got to keep eating. I have to admit, you guys in the Twitch chat room bring up things. I mean, you guys are paying attention to your tidbits. You really are. Small World Disneyland. Is that Streaker?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Didn't know that was a thing.
I saw that last week. The streaker at Disney. Is it Disney World or is it Disneyland? Yeah. That's why I didn't do it, because it was
California. And besides, a streaker in California, that's not really news. Dog poop HOA update.
I haven't seen much on the dog poop front.
Apparently Monday we had a big board meeting here. Apparently our HOA is going up $30 a month. Whatever. Do what you got to do. Don't believe so, DC.
Coming back.
She is. She's 76. She is.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Dalton Miller, Pro Football Network, will join us 1 hour from now. Seth and Bud in our 8 o'clock hour as we get over the hump together. Thanks for waking up with us. It's chilly out. In fact, some of you may say, heck with that. It's downright cold. It reached the 30s in the northern half of the state, upper 40s, approaching low 50s in the southern half of the state as the morning gets underway. So plan accordingly.
So get those ice scrapers out, start your cars a little early,
Right.
Use the heated seats, and I recommend gloves.
Unbelievable. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
College Football Playoff Committee says the top 4 is Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State. And Oregon's 5. So the Pac-12 is going to go out with a team in the playoff. How about that for irony after not having one for the last 7 years? Ohio State's 6. They're ahead of Texas and Alabama. If Texas beats Oklahoma State, is that enough to move them ahead of Ohio State? Or would the Buckeyes be the big beneficiary of a Florida State loss? I mean, the committee, let's just assume Georgia, Michigan, and the Pac-12 champion are your top 3 seeds. I mean, right now the committee's going, Ohio State or Texas is 4. Can we really make a bad decision here? But just wondering how much of a shot you think Ohio State still has if there's a Florida State upset in the ACC championship game. One other college football note, which is, interesting. Bobby Petrino used to coach at Arkansas. I mean, he was the head coach and everything. He had him number 3 in the country in 2011. The only 2 teams he lost to that year were the 2 teams who played for the national championship, LSU and Alabama. Then he went riding on a motorcycle with the young staffer he was having the affair with, and he wrecked and got all cut up and photos, and they found out he was having the affair, and they had to fire him. Well, listen, a 4-8 season, that's desperate times in the SEC. So, you know who they're bringing back to call the plays? Bobby Petrino. Mark, I don't know what your favorite memory of Bobby Petrino at Arkansas was, but mine was the night he walked out on the Atlanta Falcons. First off, he leaves notes in the player's locker. Wow. Okay. That was emotional. He flies to Fayetteville, and live on Sports Center is the Bobby Petrino. I mean, it's the middle of the night press conference welcoming him to Fayetteville, and the crowd is doing the Woo Pig Suey chant live on Sports Center and forcing Petrino to do it with them.
Yep.
And
I'm telling you right now, it'll never happen. This is just me being me. But I'd have him pull up on a motorcycle to his press conference.
Well, hell, you might as well find the female staffer too while you're at it.
Hire her.
You just bring back. Say it's like old times. Last time these two rode the motorcycle, we were 11-win team, top 5 in the country. What's the problem? Hey, Mark Cuban's selling the Mavs,
But he's still going to be in control of the Mavs,
which is a very fascinating sale. So he's selling a majority stake in the Mavs. He's not selling all of the Mavs. He's keeping shares in the team, but he is going to remain in full control of basketball operations. So he's not the owner, but he's still the boss.
That's how it reads to me, David.
By the way, he sold or is in the process of selling the Mavs to this Adelson family for a $3.5 billion valuation. So if he sells, 2/3 of the team, just, divided into $3.5 billion, et cetera. Remember, Phoenix went for 4. So the Mavs went for 3.5. $3.5 billion for the Mavs. So how do you make your money back again? All right. They had the in-season tournament last night. The Heat had a chance to advance, but they need to beat Milwaukee, and they couldn't at home. Bucks 131, Miami 124. This Giannis guy at 33. Milwaukee's 13-5 on the season. A game behind Boston, who won and had to win by 23 or more to advance in the in-season tournament. And they beat Chicago by 27, 124-97. Celtics are 14-4. Knicks advanced by beating Charlotte by 24, 115-91. Game of the night, and by the way, this really should have been on TNT. It should have. Okay, Oklahoma City and Minnesota. They're the 2 best teams in the Western Conference. And that wasn't the first end of the doubleheader, obviously, because they're Oklahoma City and Minnesota. T-Wolves beat the Thunder 106-103 to advance into the in-season tournament.
They did have the Bucks and the Heat as the first game.
I understand.
I
understand. The 2 best teams in the West. No?
Bucks and the Heat.
Okay.
Got it. The Heat. You're
right.
talking about Oklahoma City and Minnesota here.
Right.
The T-Wolves on national television. In the early slot. Are you insane?
I know. How do you, sell Gilgeous Alexander and, Karl Anthony Towns and, Bennett and what have you. Sacramento down 24 in the second quarter, down 17 at the half, rallied, hit a shot late to beat the Warriors 124-123. College hoops, they can't have the Big Ten ACC challenge anymore, because ESPN's not allowed to televise anything associated with the Big Ten. So they had to switch it up and say, well, who do we own the rights to? We own the rights to the SEC. That's easy. How about if it's the ACC-SEC challenge? Done. So they played 7 games last night against one another. SEC went 4-3. The headliner was undefeated Miami, losing at Rupp to Kentucky. Close game at the half, and then the Wildcats whooped them. 95-73. Whooped them. Telling you, Kentucky looks good.
They really did. I watched the majority of that game.
I told you yesterday. They're different. I know everybody.
Well, they don't need to. They shoot. They're a great 3-point shooting team. And last night they started out not shooting a bunch of threes. They can do it a lot of different ways. They can score the basketball.
They're young.
They have multiple guys who can do it. Brought a couple guys back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really nice team.
I know everybody's down on John Cal and he can't coach anymore and what have you. Yeah, okay. All right. Just take it easy now. For what it's worth, Ole Miss beat NC State. The SEC winners were Ole Miss, Missouri, and South Carolina. ACC winners were Clemson, Syracuse, because when you think ACC, you think Syracuse, and Georgia Tech beat Mississippi State. What else we got? Well, how about NHL? Panthers, they just beat the Maple Leafs. They kind of own Toronto. 2-1 in a shootout. Tampa Bay. Did I say Tampa?
Except for Toronto won the shootout 2-1.
No, I thought the score I got was, or was I asleep when I saw it?
The Maple Leafs won.
Huh. They did. I'll be damned. You know what? The Maple Leafs own the Panthers. They just have their number. No, they don't. But apparently they won the shootout 2-1. I got to be awake next time I put the score in. I thought I was at 4:30. Apparently I wasn't.
I like when I'm looking at it. He's like, no, they didn't win. I'm like, I'm looking at the score.
I'm going to say, I looked right at it on my phone. I read it wrong. I'll be damned. Wake up next time. Throw some water in your fat face. The Lightning lost 2 in a row on this road trip. They lost in Arizona last night, 3-1. A bunch of other NHL games. McDavid, a goal, 2 assists. Overtime, he had the game winner in the shootout against Vegas. He's pretty good. What do we got here? NFL news. Jonathan Taylor. Boy, they just got him back. He's just in game shape. And he hurt his thumb against Tampa Bay. He's going to have surgery. He's going to miss 2-3 weeks. By the way, Baker's highly questionable for the Bucs this Sunday. It might see Kyle Trask because of an ankle injury. That might have to be forced on Baker because Baker's going to insist on playing. Todd Bowles may have to just say, no, you're taking this week off. Think about that. Kyle Trask get his first career start against the worst team in the league. That's a good opportunity if it happens. Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates, Mark, headline the semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They're the first-time eligible semifinalists. There are 3 first-time eligibles. Julius Peppers, Antonio Gates, and Tiki Barber made the list of 25. Fred Taylor is a semifinalist. He's the only one of the semifinalists who has a connection to the 3 Florida franchises. Daytona 500 announced that it's a sellout already. Earliest they've had an announced sellout. 9th consecutive year that the Daytona 500 is a sellout. And that's all I got.
Okay.
Anything you got, that's fine, but that's all I got. So at 11 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I mean, Connor McDavid did Connor McDavid things again last night.
What didn't I say? That a goal, 2 assists, and then he scored the winner in the shootout.
I missed that. I was still
at least you got the Panthers Maple Leaf score right. I mean, and I could see after I got the score wrong why you stopped paying attention. I mean, how much credibility does this Yahoo have? Couldn't even get the damn score right. Hey, there's a big controversy with ESPN Bet. Did you hear about it? So apparently the other sites, like if you got a 5-thing parlay, because it could not be teams. You could also have individual bets.
Right.
Say you got a 5-bet parlay. On the other sites, say you nail 4 of them and the one's a push. Well, then they kind of divide it. They take the 20% of the equation out and they pay you the winnings on the 4 you got right.
Why? You make a 5-game parlay, you have to get 5 games right.
Well, no, most of the others, I'm just saying, most of the other sites, okay, if you go 4-0-1, essentially, that's not considered a loss.
Wow.
I like the same thing if a guy's inactive, obviously.
I get that.
Yeah, right.
But ESPN Bet, taking over the Barstool site, Barstool considered 4-0-1 a loss. You had to go 5-0. Well, so's ESPN Bet. Now, and you may agree with that. Here's the problem. If you're ESPN Bet, what are you trying to get? Market share. Well, you're not paying off because a lot of people, the Eagles-Bills game was -3 and the Eagles won by 3. So all of those bets were pushes, essentially. Well, if you place your wager with ESPN Bet, that means it was a loss. So, for those that are going to go that route, which you can't go in Florida, but for those that are going to go that route, in all honesty, make sure all your bets have a hook. I mean, this way you'll know it'll either be a win or a loss. But if a tie is a loss, then, take tie out of the equation. Make all your bets have a hook. Don't have it be 3. Have it be 2.5 or 3.5, but don't go 3. So I'll be curious if they amend that.
They probably have to the point you made earlier. Their market share is not anywhere near what the others are. And if they're trying to invade on FanDuel and DraftKings and the others, then they probably will have to be forced to make those changes.
So, they don't, if you've got a 5-bet parlay and you go 4-0-1, the other sites pay off as if you hit a 4-bet parlay. And apparently ESPN Bet doesn't. So.
And of course, this doesn't apply in Florida where we can only bet on the Hard Rock app.
But depending on how, things go in the Supreme Court in the next, 5 to 7 months, then, this might be a thing. Might be a thing. First, we have to officially get the Supreme Court to take the case. We're pretty sure they're gonna. They just haven't done it officially yet. Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I'm putting the Christmas lights up yesterday outside, listening to the DP show. And he had Scott Fowler on from the Charlotte Observer, who was at the Tepper press conference, and Tepper wouldn't call on him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, no offense. It's like, I'd wear it as he's complaining, but I'd wear it as a badge of honor.
Oh, he complained, but he did wear it as a badge of honor, because finally Dan says, "What was your question?" And basically, it was kind of along the lines, would you fire yourself? And it's probably a good idea he didn't call on you. It was.
Well, that's what Fowler wrote, and that's why he didn't call on him. Yeah, but KW, it's not a win. Everywhere else, it's a win. Isn't that part of a Chicago dog?
No.
What's a Chicago dog then?
There's a lot on it, David.
I thought that was one of them, no?
Celery salt, peppers, a pickle spear, diced onions, tomato slices, sweet relish, and yellow mustard.
Tomato slices, though, but okay. All right. That's a busy hot dog.
It is a busy hot dog.
Is that like 12 beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun?
You know, the one that really, it's not taking the place of that, but the one that makes me just laugh every time I see it is the dance the three people do in the Pepto-Bismol commercial. And they finish it with diarrhea. And I just, every time I laugh. Every damn time.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion. It's like they put a whole
yes.
song.
Yes, right. Yep. Once again, what's the key? A jingle!
Did Barry Manilow write that one?
No.
He did not.
No. I'm going to go out on a limb. Yeah, the Michigan Coney Island place says they serve a Chicago dog. It's a Michigan Coney Island place. I'm very, very scared to order a Chicago dog from a Michigan Coney Island place. They didn't even have the Flint dog right. So I don't know how they're going to do it with the Chicago. But the Detroit dog, spectacular. Spectacular.
Okay.
And they're 24/7, David.
Really?
Now I've piqued your interest.
Now you've got my attention.
I may get up extra early one morning and go there for 2 dogs before the show.
Oh, my goodness. That sounds amazing.
In fact, when you're in town, we may meet there, because there's less work to do in here with setting
Done.
stations.
Done.
Come on back.
Detroit Coney sauce mustard.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this rather chilly. In fact, some of you may say, hell with that, it's cold. Hump Day edition of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dalton Miller, Pro Football Network, will join us coming up in about 35 minutes' time. Seth and Bud next hours. They always join us on a Hump Day.
All right. Michigan wins. Somebody wins the Pac-12 game. Florida State wins. And Alabama wins. Who's going? And what's even more fascinating to me is that in this scenario, if Alabama wins, it would be a hell of a decision of 1 through 4 or 5 through 8 if we just matched them up. Who would win those games?
Now, you know what I would do. I would go perfect storm, and it would be Texas. And yes, the SEC champ would be out, and the SEC would not be in the playoff. And I know that when you present it like that, that sounds absurd. I don't know what to tell you.
And just think about it. That means 5, 6, and 7 in some way, shape, and form would end up being Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State,
right,
and the loser of the Oregon-Washington game.
Correct.
If you just took those 14, let's just say Oregon wins because they're heavily favored. So you'd have a 1-loss Georgia, Ohio State, Washington, and Alabama teams. If we put that to Vegas and had a bookie just put 5, 6, 7, and 8 against 1, 2, 3, and 4, I don't know if 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be, Florida State wouldn't be favored.
No, they would
against
not.
Any of those 4 teams.
No, with the backup quarterback, unless they're very impressive against Louisville. By the way, and I know no Ohio State fan could do this, but obviously you're going to need Florida State to lose. You have no chance of making the playoff unless Florida State loses. But it really would benefit you if Florida State loses if Michigan beats Iowa by 50. No, the bigger the margin of victory for Michigan, the more it helps Ohio State. If you think they have a chance, I mean, think about it. 3 and 5 are playing each other. Winners in. We're assuming losers out. Could, be a wrong assumption, but we're assuming losers out. If it's Oregon, well, that's a second loss. They're clearly out. If it's Washington, well, what can I tell you? You lost the wrong game. You could make the argument you're 12-1, your season better than anybody else's. Yeah, we could, but do we think the committee is going to put a 12-1 Washington ahead of 11-1 Ohio State?
No, and the Pac-12 at the end of the day was a really good conference, but it didn't live up to what it was supposed to. USC disappointed.
I'd agree with that. And then Utah had to play the whole year with the backup quarterback.
Right. So I mean, it didn't live up to the preseason hype, which was very high this year for the first time ever.
But it was very good.
It was
deep. It was, put it this way, I would argue it was deeper. The top half of the Pac-12 was deeper than the top half of the Big Ten and the SEC.
Absolutely.
But
certainly the Big Ten.
If Michigan beats Iowa 51-3.
By the way, did you see what the sports books have the Iowa first half over under at?
A half.
A half.
A half. Come on, you got to take the over, don't you? Don't you have to?
Are you sure?
I'm not sure at all.
But yes, logic would give you a safety
score. Well, but also, right. It was like when the Bears, with their historic defense in '85, and they shut out the Giants and the Rams in their first 2 playoff games. And the thought was, hey, we've never had a shutout in the Super Bowl, still haven't. And could the Bears, go through the playoffs not allowing a point? Well, what happened? First few minutes of the game, Bears fumbled on their own 25. So the Patriots didn't do anything except fall on the fumble, but they kicked the field goal. And that was the first points the Bears had given up. Same thing with Iowa. Do we think Iowa's offense is going to drive it 40-plus yards to get in scoring position? No, we don't. But maybe Michigan fumbles.
Maybe
and
the
Iowa
punt
just
returner
falls on
doesn't call a fair catch and
Right.
gets 20 yards and they kick a field goal.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'd have to bet the over. But
so Michigan has to win 51-3 or something along those lines.
Yeah. But
at the end of the day, they need Texas to lose. I don't think Ohio State has any chance of getting in without Texas losing.
Okay. All right. So if you're Ohio State, then you need Florida State and Texas.
Yes.
To lose. And you need Georgia to win.
Yes. That's exactly what you needed. All of those things to happen in order for the Buckeyes. In my opinion, for the Buckeyes to get in, they need Florida State to lose. They need Texas to lose. They need Alabama to lose.
Okay. Well, then you answer your own question, because you know how I answered it. I'd put Texas in. I'd have the SEC out. I'd take all the heat.
All right. I'll answer in a second. Let me ask you a second question.
Okay.
Not what you would do. If Alabama beats Georgia, what do you think will happen?
The SEC will be in the playoff. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And because they can pull any reason they want to justify their decisions, and they will just, promote the facts. Well, it's been the dominant conference for a generation now. Their track record, if it's close, they deserve the benefit of the doubt. A 12-1 SEC champ, that's pretty impressive. And it is, even though this year's SEC is softer than it has been. And yes, their non-conference record's not good. Absolutely. But I think that they would put the SEC in. It doesn't hurt the SEC's case that the SEC team is what again?
Alabama.
You got to admit, though, that the whole Texas thing is a perfect storm.
Oh, David, you and I have never wavered on this. Not once this year. Texas goes before Alabama. They beat them in Alabama. I don't know what else you need to see. But I know how these committees work. And I don't believe for a second that if Alabama wins, that they will keep them out of the college football playoff.
Most years, we don't have four. Like most years, we're going, man, I guess we got to put a fourth team in. Who do we want it to be? And this year, we're going, boy, 8 would be fantastic. 6 would be incredible.
Well, and, Nick last year brought up Vegas. I'm waiting for someone else to start doing it because if Georgia beats Alabama, let's just keep the 4 the way they are right now. What's the spread between Georgia and Florida State? What's that game open at? Because I already know in my head what I think it does.
It's going to be double digits.
It's going to be more than 2 touchdowns. It's not going to be double digits. It's going to be 15.
I was thinking it was going to be 12.5, 13, but okay.
I think it's 14.5. You know what I mean? I think it's more than 2 scores. I'm convinced of that.
Whew. And I know, and if you had done a point spread of Georgia against Ohio State or Georgia against Texas, I know. Don't know what to tell you. See, there's 2, once again, to me, the games have to count. And the championship games also have to count. This is another reason why, to me, Florida State loses. Well, Texas has to be in. To me, I know Texas right now is behind Ohio State, and beating an Oklahoma State team who's barely ranked. Is that really enough to move to say, oh, well, then they're better than Ohio State? Well, they played one more game. I'd look at the Big Ten and go, listen, you didn't like it in 2006, but it's the same damn thing. 11-1 Michigan did what? Stayed home. We put in 12-1 Florida, who wasn't as impressive with their wins as Michigan was in theirs, but, conference champ, extra game, we're going to give them a shot. Turned out pretty good. Here's my question, though. let's just say we go, everybody wins except Georgia. You tell me who's in. Michigan's the one. Michigan's the one. Depending on who wins the Pac-12 title game, we'll get Florida State against the Pac-12 champion in the 2-3.
I actually think they may leapfrog Alabama over Florida State in that scenario, and leave Florida State at 4. And they'll be the sacrificial lamb against Michigan.
Gotcha. So this way they could,
Michigan, Alabama, Michigan, Oregon.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you believe that Bama wins, Georgia and Texas are out. And Ohio State. It's only Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State. I mean, there's no brands involved here at all.
Well, and particularly Texas and Ohio State. I mean, Georgia's become a brand in the last couple of years, and they've done a remarkable job. But they were never a national brand.
No, but they are now.
They are now.
Just like, 80 to 82, Herschel made Georgia national. They lived off it for 40 years. Kirby's now made them national again. So now that's not what you would do, right?
No, if Alabama wins, Texas goes.
Okay, so you and I are the same.
But I'm telling you, it's not happening. I believe with every fiber of my being that if Alabama wins on Saturday against Georgia, they're going to the college football playoff.
Okay, well, but think about it though. First off, by the way, Alabama's coming from the 8 hole. I mean, that is pretty far back.
Yep,
you got to admit that.
But we've talked about it's the best win of the year.
It would be.
It's the best win of the year.
Yes.
They won the best conference and they have the best win. They're in the playoff. That's what the committee will say.
The committee will also say, and they're Alabama. And Birmingham's the #1 television market in the country in our sport. But anyway. Oh, my goodness.
So these are the decisions that this committee has.
And for the record, you and I, that's 2 votes on the committee, I mean, there's got to be 2 people thinking the same way as us.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You guys ever been to Cancun?
No.
Do you have any desire?
No.
Because living down here, you don't really need to go tropical.
But I've been to a couple of different islands and I've liked them, but Cancun does nothing for me.
Do you like the Keys?
Love the Keys.
Okay. I've never been. That's where I want to go.
You need to.
Yeah, I would like to go. One of my buddies just had his honeymoon in Cancun, and he was like, it was incredible.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Well, I just was curious.
I mean, you could, from here, it's a lot easier to get to, if you want to go to the Bahamas or something like that, you can do that a lot cheaper and a lot easier if you want to do an island.
So do you have that picture of the ad? Trent hasn't seen it yet.
Tell me that's not David.
Okay, I was that is David.
Right.
Well, and
oh my God.
And the company that did the ad, we have their insurance, and I have a sleep machine, and I don't use the mask. I only use what they call the nasal pillows. So
that's unbelievable. Have you seen the Scott Van Pelt, like where in the world is SVP? And
yeah,
that's you. Where in the world is David Moulton?
Well,
it's just lookalikes.
Kentucky by a million.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Trent with the play of the day coming up in about 7 minutes. So my wife's watching TV last night, and all of a sudden, and I'm in my room where I am right now working, actually doing show prep, and it's around 7:15, and my wife starts yelling, and my wife doesn't yell very much. David, you got to come here right now. And I'm thinking, my wife's had some health issues. My mother-in-law's had some health issues. I'm thinking, wow, okay. And I'm running out. I need you to stand in front of the TV real close, and I need you to pay close attention now. And I'm like, really? All right. Whatever.
I've already seen this Law and Order, honey.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I love you. Okay, sure. Great to be back home. And she cues up a commercial. Well, I like commercials. All right. I'll go with this. Florida, right. Florida Blue. Huh. Great. Health insurance ad. Well, we've got Florida Blue. And it's finding solutions, Mark. That's the theme of the commercial. You want to do business with them because they're going to solve your health problems. And the ad starts, first off, it starts with exteriors of Jacksonville. Oh, okay. Well, I'm in Jacksonville. That makes sense. I'm guessing the same commercial in Southwest Florida would start with exteriors of, the Causeway and the Gulf of Mexico and what have you. All right. Same at anywhere else in the state, that the first 3-4 seconds would start with exteriors of where you are. And then the next 25, 26 seconds, we're sure, are pretty much the same throughout the state, right? Starts with a woman. She's got a broken ankle of some kind. She's on the couch in the doctor's office with a cast. Okay. Then they go to a shot of a guy in a sleep clinic, asleep, with a mask. Not a mask, but a thing over his nose. They call them nasal pillows. I happen to know because I've done the sleep clinic and I've got a sleep machine, and that's how I sleep. Mark, that guy was me.
You're damn right it was, because you sent me the picture.
And my wife, and I look at it and I go, I'll be damned. And my wife starts screaming again. See, I told you. Okay, that's you. And I'm like, well, it can't be me, but damn, that's me.
I bet whoever made it was like, it's an AI generated image of.
Okay, listen,
goodness gracious!
Okay.
Hopefully she's not listening. She'll freak out completely.
Oh, please! She's already thought that. Hell, I kid you not. She sent a text to my mom saying, "Is there a secret that you need to tell?" Okay, I mean, that's how freaked out she is. Okay, kind of like, you sure? So Mark's, if you're watching on Twitch, the ad is on YouTube. It's Florida Blue. It's Finding Solutions. It's about 8 to 12 seconds into the ad. It's a guy sleeping at a sleep clinic. And the audio is, we're going to fix his problem, so this way it'll cure their problem. And it's, in theory, his wife and the pet, so that they can now sleep solidly too. And by the way, I'm a Florida Blue customer. I've gone to multiple sleep clinics. And while that's not the exact setup that I have to sleep with, it's close. And Mark, we've all seen people in our life in which we go, I'll be damned, that could be my brother. I have never, ever, 58 next month, ever seen anyone that looks more like me than that person.
David, I've known you quite a while. I've never seen your doppelganger, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
There's been people who think I look like a couple of different people.
Right.
Jimbo Fisher is one that.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I saw it, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of look. I can see that.
Yeah, I got Bob Huggins. Okay, yeah. I got Bob Huggins. Okay, I got that one.
I've gotten our governor a few times, which I don't see at all.
I don't either. But right.
Keep going. These are good. What else have you guys got?
There's a joke. 2 years ago in Cincinnati, we were doing a game, and the guy outside the hotel, okay, I talk about Ed Svita and Bill Garrity, Joe's stats guy and spotter all the time. Svita yells out, "Moulton!" Okay, and that's become the joke. Anybody who looks like me is a Moulton. I took a picture with the guy, okay, and now we look like we could be related, but we don't look alike. Mark, I've sent this picture to you, our longtime friend John Cassio, sent it to my mom, sent it to Gary Danielson. Everybody immediately goes, that's you.
It's you.
So, of course, now my wife wakes up this morning and goes, yeah, I didn't sleep all night. I'm trying to figure out how they got your picture. Okay, and I want money.
Of course she does.
Well, she does. Well, I mean, come on, we don't have any. And so,
right.
Yeah. But she wants money.
$8.30 you're going to get for that commercial will really make the difference.
Well, but she wants to get to the truth now. She wants a deep investigation. She wants to call a high-priced law firm. She wants to get to the truth. Just wants to find out, is that me? Did they somehow, some way take a picture of me and use it in the ad, and we signed a release walking in the door that allows them to do it? But I got to tell you,
I'm going to go with no, but I want to find the guy. I want to know what his name is.
Yes. I want to take a picture with him. I want to know
he's available to co-host when you're out of town.
I mean, if he's an accountant in Topeka, I want to meet him. Damn.
Yeah, hello.
So anyway, it's on YouTube. It's a Florida Blue ad. It's Finding Solutions. Just tell me if you don't think that's me. Because I think it's me. That's how much he looks like me, or I look like him.
Time now for our play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
We go to Golden One Center in Sacramento, California for the NBA in-season tournament that you guys love so much, where the Warriors have a 1-point lead on the Kings, and with 17 seconds to play, we got this.
Kings have a chance to take the lead here. Wiggins with 5 fouls. Monk drives on him. Monk hangs, and he scores! What a basket! Malik Monk gives the Kings the lead.
Malik Monk fades away, nets it. Curry actually had a shot to win it right after that. Warriors out of timeout, so they just kind of rushed up the court. He missed it at the horn. Kings advanced to the knockout round, eliminating Golden State from the in-season tournament. Light the beam. Kings are the 6th seed in the West currently. I think they're 10-6. So bright days ahead for the young Sacramento Kings. And They will host the Pelicans next week in the knockout stage.
Ooh, the knockout stage, David. That's when it gets serious for the in-season tournament.
Mark, it's the Knicks at Milwaukee. It's Boston at Indiana. It's Phoenix at the Lakers, and it's the Pelicans at the Kings.
This is not what the NBA wanted, by the way, when they started figuring this stuff out. Like,
what are you talking about? You got the Celtics on one side and the Lakers on the other.
That's exactly
true.
But
exactly what the NBA was counting on.
The West has no top 3 teams.
Doesn't matter. They have the Lakers.
Did you see the division they put the Lakers in with?
Yeah. That's
honestly, it's St. Mary's, San Diego State, and Pacific. That's who they put in the Lakers division to make sure they got through the in-season tournament. It was a joke.
Well, nonetheless, will you guys tune into the knockout round at all? Bucks Knicks, David. Bucks Knicks. You get Giannis.
Yeah,
I'll probably have more of a chance to tune into the quarterfinal games because there'll be some that'll be played at 7:30. Once it goes out to Vegas, everything will be late.
How about this though? Lakers Suns, LeBron versus KD. That has potential to be probably the highest rated game of this regular season, including Christmas Day. We'll see.
And it is a Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's Monday and Tuesday of next week, which I find interesting. Monday going up against Monday Night Football, but it's Monday and Tuesday of next week is the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I'll probably not tune in.
What about Lakers Suns?
Again, I'll probably not tune in. That game will start at 10:30. I'll be in bed.
Dalton Miller, Pro Football Network. He's next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Deadstroke, yes. I think whoever wins is going to hang a little banner, and it's going to be like sometimes in NFL stadiums you see division championship banners, whatever. It'll be something like that. It'll be a little guy. And then in like 5 years when they're no longer doing the tournament, they'll just take it down. But yes, the Celtics would love it probably more than anyone else would.
And the Celtics would not put a banner up of any sort if they win this tournament.
You don't think so?
Not a chance.
Trent.
Are you high?
Trent.
Look.
Trent. It's the Boston Celtics.
They put up championship banners.
They don't put up finals appearances.
The NBA will make them do it.
No, they won't.
The hell they will.
And Boston will look at them and laugh. I will bet you.
True,
I would bet you a paycheck
Yes, I would bet you.
And you can't afford.
I
to
can't
lose
afford
a
to lose a paycheck. I was just going to say
a an in-season tournament.
That would be like UCLA putting up tournament appearance banners in Pauley Pavilion.
Okay,
They don't even put Final Four banners up at UCLA.
No.
So let's.
Have you ever been to Pauley Pavilion? They do not recognize going to the Final Four.
Would the Pacers
only banners up are championship banners?
The Pacers might hang one.
Would the Bucks hang one?
No.
Would the Knicks hang one?
No.
Please.
Would the Pelicans obviously would. Kings obviously would. Would the Suns?
Maybe.
No.
And the Lakers wouldn't either. So there you go. I feel like there's going to be
season tournament banner. Are you kidding me?
There will be pressure.
I wouldn't put it up in the office.
Look, I'm just simply saying they're really
I literally would auction it off. Like an Everblades jersey. I would auction it off so that a fan could have it at home in their man cave. I swear.
One lucky fan gets to keep the.
No, seriously. It actually would, I think, generate a few $1,000s. Somebody would love to have it in their man cave. They think it'd be cool.
I'm not saying it means anything. Just saying the NBA's pushing this so hard. They have new courts for it, new jerseys for it.
By the way, Deadstruck, if you go back to our first act, so why did we get our hands on the Florida Firecats championship banner? Because the franchise
Kessel took it for me, I think.
So they were they were cleaning some places out at what's now Hertz Arena, and Mark's good friend called him because he still worked there and Mark didn't, and he called him and he said, "Hey, you guys want this Firecats championship banner?" And we said, "Hell yeah!" And we had it up in the office. In the studio, Trent, you would have been staring at it. We had it up on that wall that you're looking at.
Well, I wish you still had it.
Well, once we got fired, we got rid of a lot of stuff.
Or they got rid of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. The banner, our Twinkies. We lost all our drop-ins. That's the only part that really bothers Miller and Moulton.
Well,
we had
and especially
amazing
the first ones that we had that with first batch that were taken away from us too.
Yeah. Because we had some legends.
Harry Callis.
Harry Callis did a Miller and Moulton liner within a year of him passing. Also. Plus, we had multiple Bobby Bowden drop-ins. You know, boys, you make a dadgum good point. Golly.
Dalton's ready to rock.
I miss him.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our Grade 8 hour coming up. Dalton Miller's kind enough to join us once again. He at Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow the site on Twix, Twitter/X at PFN365. You can follow Dalton at Dalton, the letter B, Miller. Dalton B. Miller. Dalton, it's David and Mark. Hope you had a good holiday. How are you?
Fantastic. I hope you guys had a great holiday as well.
Listen, is the guy in Carolina out of control? Or, hey, if you make a mistake, cut your losses?
No, he's definitely out of control. You could kind of tell from the beginning of all of this that he was going to be a little bit of a meddler. I think that when you look at some of the other franchises that he owns as well, he's been very involved in all of them. I just think that sometimes business and sports knowledge are completely separate things. And that doesn't seem like a crazy thing to me, but rich, powerful billionaires really like to have control of everything that they do. And sometimes they make some really horrific decisions along the way. I think when you look at this roster overall, it was one that was never going to be very good this year. The wide receiving core is about as bad as I've ever seen. And I think Adam Thielen is playing very well relative to, being a 31-year-old guy who is, definitely over the hill athletically. But the offense wasn't very good. The defense has taken a step back in talent. They don't really have much of a pass rush. And so the team was never going to be very good. But I think when you kind of push who you want with that number one pick and then it doesn't work out, you go and you try to find a guy who is going to make it work with the guy that you wanted to pick.
This next coach screams, not the top guy to me, Dalton, because as we've found out over the years, high-level coaches interview owners, not the other way around. And with what this owner's done, it's going to be difficult for a high-level coach to take this job, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know who would necessarily want to take this job outside of, you're probably going to make some pretty good money. I think Tepper is definitely going to want to throw money at this problem. The issue is it's a team with no draft capital this year and not a great young core surrounding, this young quarterback who is really struggling right now. So I don't really know where Carolina is supposed to go with this team. I think it's going to be a little bit like Arizona or Houston, where we see, somebody come in who is not a high-level guy, and they start to rebuild a little bit after a year or two, and then he is gone. It seems to me like this is going to be a little bit of a transitional period for this roster, even if that's not what Tepper wants. It's what he's going to have to get.
I'll give Tepper credit for one thing that he said yesterday. He said it was near unanimous about Bryce Young. Okay, he basically said, no. We're not blaming anybody here. Okay,
I think that Neer is doing a lot of work. I think that Neer is doing a lot of work because if we look back at the way that Reich was talking at the time, they were saying, we don't really have a guy yet. They were being very coy about who that they really liked. And I think that everybody was very open to the possibility of either guy for a little while. And I do think that you're able to talk yourself into a guy after a while, especially if a lot of the rest of the organization wants that guy. It's very easy to be around those guys, see them, you start seeing what they're seeing in the guy and you start to ignore some of the issues that you had with him personally. So it probably was, by the end of it, almost unanimous. But it probably didn't start out that way, and guys were talked into that thought.
For the record, by the way, I was fine with Bryce Young. I loved him coming out of college. Mark was the C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young guy. For the record, where were you heading into the draft?
I was a C.J. Stroud guy, but I did not hate the pick either. I did not hate the pick. It's just when you look at the way that things go for rookies, it's more about the situation than the quarterback's own, physical talent. And Carolina is just a much worse situation. Now, C.J. Stroud is playing at a level we couldn't have expected. I loved C.J. Stroud, and I didn't think that he could be anywhere near this early on. So it is tougher in Carolina now, seeing what Stroud is doing in Houston. But I think if the roles were reversed, I don't think that Young would be doing what Stroud is doing. But I don't think that Stroud would be finding that same success in Carolina either.
All right, let's just assume that Bryce Young still can be a good quarterback. How do you fix what's been broken already this year if you're Carolina, Dalton?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because when we looked at what he did really well at Alabama, it was that, he was an absolute wizard with the RPO, and they're not running a ton of RPOs, but Frank Reich is a guy who has always he was kind of known for it in Philadelphia with Nick Foles. And so it was a really weird thing. And apparently Tepper wanted him to run more RPOs, but he wasn't. And maybe he was just trying to get out of this situation and wanted to get fired at the end of the day. But I think that you have to kind of lean into that a little bit, get the ball out of his hands immediately, because that offensive line is not going to be able to hold up for him. And he is not confident behind that offensive line. And that's one of the reasons why they threw a screen pass on 4th and 6 with the game on the line. I think that Reich and that offensive staff didn't really trust Young in a drop back situation there. They didn't trust the offensive line in that situation. They didn't trust any of their wide receivers to get open in that situation. So you might as well get the ball out and see if they can make a play after the catch. But I think when you really look at it, you just have to take your lumps, try not to completely ruin Bryce Young along the way, which they're already kind of doing a pretty good job of doing, or a pretty poor job of doing. And so you need to find a way to get him a little bit more comfortable and just have him survive until reinforcements can come in.
He's Dalton Miller, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Dalton B. Miller, Dalton the letter B, Miller. You do a Cowboys podcast for Pro Football Network. Listen, if you're average or worse, they'll beat you up like no other team in this league. But do you think the Cowboys have actually gotten better in the last month, or are they just taking advantage of the schedule?
No, I think that they've definitely gotten better. When you look at the way that their offense is kind of schematically set up, it's changed dramatically since the bye week. I mean, everybody at the beginning of the season was screaming for more motion at the snap, more motion in general, get a little bit more creative in the passing game, lean more on the passing attack than the rushing attack. And they've done all of that after the bye. And now something that we've seen in the past from this Dallas Cowboys team is they'll do some fun stuff. Kellen Moore is a great play designer. But when we got into the games, against San Francisco and Philadelphia and some of the better football teams, they kind of devolved back into a shell of what the offense we were seeing when they were opened up and free against these lesser teams. So you need to see that same sort of aggressiveness on offense. And I think that they can keep up. Now, my bigger issue, I think, is this defense is really, really good, but that defense is also giving up a lot of third downs right now. They need to get more stops consistently, and they need to be better against the run game because they're actually 31st in success rate defensively against the run right now, which is not very good. So I think that it's a team that might have to be in a couple of track meets, down the line with San Francisco, and it's going to be interesting to see if this Cowboys offense can step up to the plate.
In the NFC, it was the Lions who were the hot team a couple of weeks ago, but they played lousy against the Bears and then were blown out by the Packers. Should Lions fans be concerned of what's going on in Detroit with Jared Goff the last couple of weeks?
I think that they should be a little bit less concerned with Jared Goff and a little bit more concerned with that defense, because that defense, after week 4, week 5 has not been very good. They don't really have a complimentary pass rusher alongside Aiden Hutchinson. They have a really good interior, but in Aleem McNeil, but he's not really a huge pass rusher. He's more of just kind of an all-around run defender, kind of energy guy. So they need a complement to Aiden Hutchinson on that defensive line, and then that secondary is just not playing very well right now. When you multiply that by, the interior of that offensive line being banged up and that offensive line not playing quite as well, that's when you get into the issues with Jared Goff, because he can try to handle pressure. He can move around in the pocket. He's actually very good at it, but he's just not a good enough athlete to create when things break down. And you're seeing him, he'll try to get the ball out, but it's a little bit too late because he's not athletic enough to get that space to be able to create a throwing window. So I think that you should be more concerned, if you're a Lions fan, about the defense and consistently having to be in these track meets than Jared Goff, having 3 turnovers a game.
Is this where the decision to go running back with the very first pick in the first round, and while he's been a very good player, you go back and you go, they could have had Jalen Carter?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, allowing Jalen Carter to go to Philadelphia is one of the biggest mistakes I've seen the NFL make in a long time. He was probably the best player in the draft, and to add him to that defensive front is completely unfair for the rest of the league. And I think when you look at, I understand that people are like, yes, just draft playmakers at this point. And I understand the thought of drafting playmakers, especially if it is a running back in the first round. Get a guy who can hit home runs. And Jahmyr Gibbs can hit home runs. The problem is he's still a running back at the end of the day. And with the defense that was, a little bit more talented going into the year, they suffered some injuries. Mosley, being injured again and losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson. was a big loss to them as well. But I think, being able to maybe get another pass rusher would have been a very, very big thing for them that they missed out on.
The 49ers are a 3-point favorite against the Eagles. Do you think the 49ers are 3 points better than Philadelphia right now?
I think they are. I think Philadelphia's defense is actually a big issue. And I think the one thing that you look at when you look at this matchup in particular is that San Francisco can legitimately rush 4 guys and drop the rest of the 7 back. I think that they're going to be able to take away the middle of the field because they just kind of take away the middle of the field against every team. Fred Warner's that good. But adding Chase Young to this defensive front with Hargrave and with Eric Armstead and obviously Nick Bosa is exactly how the San Francisco 49ers have tried to build their defense for the past half decade, and it's worked. And they went out, they made the trade. That defense immediately got better. And getting Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel back, getting all of the offensive toys back and healthy is a huge plus for them. And so I do think that they're the better team on the surface. I think the problem is that we've seen Philadelphia over the past 2 years be really, really gutsy. I mean, they are a team that really fits into the culture of Philadelphia as, being fighters and that Rocky sense, that Rocky mentality where it doesn't matter how ugly things are for them. Maybe the defense is playing terrible. Maybe the offensive line is having an off game. They find a way to win these ugly games consistently. And I think that that's big for them, not just in big games in the regular season, but it's huge for them in the playoffs because there are no easy games once you get to the postseason. Which
3-loss AFC team in Florida do you believe in more, Jacksonville or Miami?
I think now it's Miami. If you would have asked me a couple of weeks ago, I think I might have said Jacksonville because that defense was playing really well. That the offense just hasn't really come around. I'm interested to see what happens now that, Cam Robinson's going to be out for a couple of weeks. I think Walker Little going out to left tackle and Ezra Cleveland coming in at left guard might actually be an upgrade overall. It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But Jalen Ramsey coming back has been an absolute revolution for that Miami defense. They're a completely different defense with him because teams just don't even want to try him. And then when teams do try them, it seems to have really bad results. So I think that he's kind of changed the way that Miami defense functions. It's way better now. And I know that offense isn't looking quite as potent as it was in the beginning of the year, but they kind of got Jalen Waddle back involved this past week. I think that could be huge for them going down the stretch. And then at the end of the day, I just don't trust Jacksonville's offense right now. I know that they had a really good game last week and Trevor Lawrence threw for a bunch of yards, but I can't trust that offense to come in and be explosive week in and week out.
He's Dalton Miller. He's one of their top analysts on Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. And follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Dalton, the letter B Miller, Dalton B Miller, and check him out, profootballnetwork.com. Dalton, we always appreciate your time and your insight. Hope you are well, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Dalton Miller, kind enough once again to join us here on Miller and Moulton.
It was a quick run through of most of the good product in the NFL, with the exception of Carolina that we spent a little time on.
Right. We did start with the grease fire. Yes. Which has to be good news if you're a Bucs fan. You're like, wow, that could be a grease fire for a while. Think about it in that division. If you're a fan of one of the other 3 teams, Saints, Falcons, and Bucs, does anybody in that division look like they're going to be good anytime soon? Good.
No.
Right. You could turn things around pretty damn quickly in that division.
It shouldn't be that hard. Think about it. You get your act together, you should be able to get to 5 division wins pretty quickly because the division's a mess. You're halfway to 10 at that point, then you're a playoff team. Miller and Moulton. The great 8 hour is next. We begin it with Seth Everett. Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. a team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How are you?
Good morning. You hear me okay?
Yeah. Are you on just your phone this morning?
Yeah. I'm in Syracuse.
Okay.
So
must be nice and balmy there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys want to see outside? How do you switch the camera?
I don't know. I've never done StreamYard on. Oh, my God, that's awful. Turn it away. Turn it away. No. I was dealing with 50 to 50 something degrees this morning, like 50, and it was cold enough for me.
50. It's 24.
When you're used to 85, it's all relative.
But it's 24 back home too. It's just they don't have snow.
Yeah, you got a lot of that white stuff on the ground there. What are you teaching today, or are you at a?
No, I have these two meetings. One's at 9, one's at 11. So I came here last night and I went to the Syracuse LSU game.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Where are you?
I'm in Syracuse.
I just want you to know, David, he's doing this on his phone right now.
Yeah, all your guests can do this. It's not hard. And StreamYard asks you for an app, but I'm not doing the app. I just did it through the web. Just click on the link and type your name. It took 2 seconds to sign in.
Okay.
Well,
No, we're very appreciative.
Get Dr. Roto on the line.
You know, there are some people who the reason they don't do it is because they don't want to be seen. You know, Like Dr. Roto, I think, wakes up and does our segment because he does work till like 2 a.m. Pat Kerwin only wants his audio. He doesn't want his video. Doesn't want people to see him.
All these prima donnas.
Right.
I've had actors on the Hall of Justice. I had a voice actor. She wouldn't put her camera on. She just wanted to be audio only. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you're not real.
Did you show him my ad? I have to send
I did not. So David sends Cassio and I a text last night. And his wife was watching some show on YouTube, and this person came on. Now, David has sleep apnea. He wears a similar device, and this person was on TV.
It's AI.
That's what I think.
She's watching TV, and the commercial comes on the TV while Entertainment Tonight. They go to commercial, second commercial in the break. I just sent you the picture.
That's awesome.
It's me.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody look more like me than that. So
He's
now
more
I got
you than you.
And I have Florida Blue, and I have sleep apnea. I use the sleep machine, and I use one very similar to that, where I only do it over the nose, not the nose and mouth.
See what pictures the company that made that commercial has besides.
Right. And I've gone to 2 sleep clinics in Florida.
And that's what the ad's for?
Yeah, well, part of the ad is, we'll fix your sleep problem so that you're not causing others problems.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it is our third and final hour along the network of Miller and Moulton on this hump day, on this, well, for Florida, it's at least chilly, if not cold. So be prepared. Pants, socks, maybe even some of your layers. Mark at soccer practice last night, it got down to 58. He was running to the car, turning the heat on. So, these are tough times in the Sunshine State. Seth Everett can certainly relate as he's in Syracuse where it's like 17 degrees or whatever it is. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's a balmy 24. And they had lake effect snow last night.
Ooh.
Will you make either a snowball or a snow angel at some point today?
A snowball, maybe, not a snow angel. I'm not in the snow clothes.
You can get 2 feet of lake effect snow in a few hours.
Yeah, some places near Buffalo got like 40 inches. This place got like 6 to 9 inches. It was treacherous. It was only driving here around 6:30 last night. Just the last 20 minutes got ugly. It was pretty dicey at one point, but we got here, and then I walked across campus in the snow to go to the JMA Wireless Dome for my first basketball game in the Dome in at least 25 years.
Was it no Boeheim, we've talked about this. Was it the same? Was the atmosphere the same? Did it feel the same?
It was. It's finals week, so a lot of students didn't go. It's cool. It's renovated. The whole place is different. The roof is different. Everything looks newer. All the concessions are all new. But it's the same place. I'd been here for football. I'd never been there for basketball. Any basketball games that I've seen since I graduated was at Madison Square Garden for the old Big East, or Barclays Center, or the Prudential Center. Different arenas around. I hadn't been here for a basketball game, I think, since March '96.
Syracuse, by the way, in the ACC SEC Challenge last night, whooped up on LSU at home. So that's on 80-57 win. The SEC went 4-3 in the first day of the SEC ACC Challenge. Listen, I'm curious. We had some fun last hour. there's a commercial out there in which there's a guy in it that looks more like me than I've ever seen before, and that anyone who knows me has ever seen before. Now, I mean, even my mother is like, well, I don't think you have the same crease on your forehead. But I mean, that's how much this person looks like me. This whole
Your
AI,
doppelganger.
this whole AI thing between sports, we had the Sports Illustrated story, producing stories. You have with Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice, you deal with actors and acting. A lot of the SAG-AFTRA strike that you took part in is about the future. I mean, how big is this going to be? First off, in sports, do you think this is going to be a big thing in sports?
Well, I don't think it's going to be virtual players playing games. I think there might be, AI broadcasts and AI presentations and using AI in the context. But the technology is so good that the reality is, I don't think the fan would be impacted. I think the people who are impacted are the people that are getting replaced by AI. I've told you guys the story of the adult contemporary music station in Portland, Oregon, where the midday DJ left for personal reasons. She wasn't fired or anything like that. She left, and rather than replace her, they created an AI to basically host it for her. So technically, she's still hosting, but here's the trick: she's not getting paid to do that. That's where AI is the problem. That's the controversy about AI, not the technology. All you have to do is watch the second season of Mandalorian and look how cool Luke Skywalker looked. It looked like Luke Skywalker right out of Return of the Jedi. Fixing Darth Vader's voice has been amazing. But did James Earl Jones get paid for that? That's the key, and that's what the SAG-AFTRA strike was about.
And Seth, how do they get paid? Because, come on.
Well, you need safeguards. Yeah.
What are the safeguards?
Well, right now, a studio is not allowed to use a person's likeness without signing a specific contract for that. So what it used to be before the SAG-AFTRA strike, if you were hired as an extra, let's say they paid you $500 to be an extra on Grey's Anatomy. I'm just throwing out a show. And you're one of the extras in the background. For $500, you get to be in that episode. They could technically use you in perpetuity. They would never have to hire an extra. They could just insert you in there, and you wouldn't get paid. That's what the strike was. And now there are safeguards to protect actors. Supposedly, it's very good. The AI part was something that they were very satisfied with.
It's me in that Florida Blue ad. I'm telling you.
Right, but you didn't get a residual for that.
Well, I didn't get the initial 500 either. So trust me. Okay, we're calling
because it's also not you.
Biggest damn law firm that we can find, Seth. We are going to war over this.
Salino and Barnes.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twix, Twitter /X at Seth_Everett. In all honesty, though, Mark and I, play-by-play guys at heart. I mean, could you ever see the play-by-play people being eliminated? I mean, how is the technology good enough where they can, that they can, the computer can use its eyes, so to speak, and then use its voice?
It could probably do a pregame show or one of those studio shows or things like that. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, the technology is pretty remarkable. There's different kinds. There's audio. I mean, have you guys talked about the Beatles song?
Yeah.
And what they did with the Beatles, where I mean, that's AI. That is machine learning. What makes me laugh is those are the kinds of things that I used AI in my Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation promo that airs in the Hall of Justice. We did a thing with the Christopher Reeve Foundation for spinal research, and we found audio of a speech Christopher Reeve gave, and through AI we were able to extract the audio. The background sound of the crowd was gone, the music was gone, and all of it was isolated by artificial intelligence. It was remarkable.
But you don't see the technology there to replace play-by-play guys. You obviously don't see it coming in sports. Where do you see the easiest place for it to come into sports?
Probably. I mean, I hate to say it, audio sports updates.
So you basically you'll lose another job. Well, I mean, come on. Miller and Moulton are really good at losing jobs. I mean, we can rattle off all the jobs we've lost. I mean, you're basically saying, come to think of it, one of your jobs is you do updates for iHeart, okay, on numerous stations around the country, and you're basically saying your time is limited.
Oh yeah. It's limited. It's very limited. But to that end, I'm part of SAG-AFTRA, and we have a union contract. So if they suddenly stopped using us for that, we could see if that's a violation of the contract. I don't know.
Your thoughts on Mark Cuban? Okay, A, selling the Mavs, but also B, getting out of Shark Tank. Some people think, by the way, he's doing it because he's about to run for president.
Okay. Yeah. I thoughts on Mark Cuban. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that ever.
There you go.
I've never thought about him in that way, and I've never seen Shark Tank. I've heard Shark Tank's very popular, but I've never seen Shark Tank.
I've only seen a few times, and it's a pretty good show. It just there are other things I'd rather watch.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you, but I mean,
it's like a game show. It's like a half reality, half game show.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
By the way, it's kind of the NFL also, but that's it's just a lot longer.
It's a little different. Hey, I haven't spoken to you guys since I saw the Fail Mary in person.
Well, you saw something that people swear they've never seen before. I asked my best friend, a Jets fan, what was more surreal, the Fail Mary, a pick six on a Hail Mary, or the butt fumble. He thinks it's no comparison. He thinks the butt fumble will always reign supreme. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Well, there was more at stake. It's funny. We were sitting in the stands, my wife and I, and was getting texts from my kids. My kids were watching the Devils play Columbus, and the Columbus scores a goal, and I'm like, oh man. And the guy in front of me just says, "You're complaining about that game. You're at this game." And I said, "Yeah, but the Jets know they stink. The Devils think they're good. The Devils think they have a season left. Like they have something at stake." By the way, great win last night. And they are in that position. The Jets know how brutal they are.
3 in the third, Mark, for the Devils last night to beat the Islanders 5-4.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah,
They've lost a couple. They've not been playing that well lately, so it was a pretty big win. I'm glad they could get that. They're in sixth place?
2 in a row.
They're in sixth place in their division right now. Talk to me when
That's
they're
all right.
Seth. Talk to me.
November.
Left team. No, I'm just having fun. What was the reaction of the Jet fan though when that happened? Were they like incredulous of the Hail Mary, or were just like
so Jets? That's what everybody was saying. That is so Jets. That's exactly what a Jets thing would have. If it could happen, it would happen to the Jets. That franchise, man.
Yeah. It's now they are convinced it's jinx. When Rodgers went down 4 plays into the season, that Jets fans are now like, okay, something's at work here.
2 different general managers drafted the number 2 pick in the draft, and both drafted quarterbacks that didn't amount to anything.
Yeah, that is very.
Can't even blame it on one person.
Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Got about a minute. Go.
Patrick McEnroe. It's his second appearance. Patrick McEnroe was one of the nicest people. When I started the podcast and had about 12 listeners, he had come on episode 59, and this is, I think, episode 438. He came back. He and I talk about the state of tennis and the popularity of tennis. It's a really fun conversation, and it's good to have him back. Hall of Justice is the final of our month of Marvel, and it's Loki. We're talking about Loki season 2 on the Hall of Justice. And because I'm in Syracuse, that's already been submitted. So it's coming out today or tomorrow, but I already did
it. So it's like, I don't have to work tonight. I'm so happy.
I don't have to race home and put it together. It's done. And it came out really well.
He's Seth Everett. Seth_Everett is how you follow him on Twix, Twitter/X. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Seth, safe travels. All the best to you and the family. Miller and Moulton. But Elliott, 25 minutes away.
Go Orange.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Here we are, by the way. Brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts. Right here.
Are they frosted?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, there you go. All right.
Not toasted.
Michael wouldn't take the case because it's a loser, Adam. David's SOL.
I got to find out who it is, though.
Did you buy those yesterday, or did your wife buy them for you?
She actually bought them for my mother-in-law. I'm snarfing a package.
You're eating your mother-in-law's Pop-Tarts?
She's got a hell of a deal here. She doesn't pay rent. She doesn't pay for quite a lot of stuff. She's got a hell of a deal here. Besides, I'll head out after the show. I got to pick up a couple things. I'll pick up a whole new thing of Pop-Tarts.
Errand day today?
Always. Wednesday's my errand day. So I try to relax on Thursday. I try to have nothing. Last night's the first of 10 straight nights of sleeping in my own bed. Oh my God.
I'll see Felipe in a couple hours.
He told me about that. He's gonna help you hang something.
Yeah, I give him $50 to hang my wreath for me.
Because you don't like to go on the ladder.
I'm definitely scared of heights. It'll take him 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Me, snakes, Mark heights. We're very open about it.
I'm writing all this down.
Pop-Tarts. Not the public. No generic Pop-Tarts. Nope. I am, but it's a day trip for me. For whatever reason, I got in the habit of doing the SEC title game as a day trip. Fly up in the morning. When I lived in Southwest Florida, the flight was just 20 minutes longer, about an hour and 15 minutes. They got flights every hour and a half. So I picked the 8:30 flight, land at 10, and take a cab to the hotel. I got to chill out for an hour, and then we leave around 12:30, head to the game. Game's at 4. We're off the air at 8. There's always a 10:30 flight. And since there's always CBS executives there, we get a police escort out. So I'm at the airport. Hell, I'm there. I can make TSA. Gary and I have had a beer before our flight before. And then Monday Night Football in Jacksonville. So 10 straight nights sleeping in my own bed. Oh, my God, am I happy.
Well, and then you have what? One more college football game, Army-Navy.
Yep.
Where is that this year?
Boston, and the Monday Night Football game's in Jersey. So I'll literally just after the game, I'll drive to my mom's house. It's about 3.5 hours. As long as there's no snow.
Today was the first Army-Navy football game, David.
Who won?
Navy.
I was root for Navy.
24 spit.
I was root for Army. My grandfather and my dad, technically, but talk about somebody who was not fit out to be a soldier.
No, he's not going to Boston. He's going to Foxborough.
Right. Right. No, I won't get within 40 minutes of Boston.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes. One of the things we'll talk to him about, one of his favorite topics, playoff committee. Got together, ran up the company credit cards. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State in the 4-hole. Is it possible if they win that they get bounced by a Bama, by a Texas? Is it possible?
I think it is.
All right. Percentage. Put percentage, because it's Bama beating Georgia. I mean, if it's going to happen, to me, that's how it happens. Bama beats Georgia, and they decide, well, we got to put Texas in because they beat Bama. So we're going to jam in Texas and Alabama, and we got to stick it to somebody, and we're going to stick it to Florida State. You know, let's just say they barely beat Louisville, 23-21, after barely beating the Gators, you know, blah, blah, blah. They just decide, you know what, with the backup quarterback, they're no longer one of the 4 best.
I think there's a 1 in 5 chance it happens.
Wow.
I think there's a 1 in 5 chance that it happens.
I think it's less than that for a couple of reasons. First off, I don't know. I don't like Bama's shot. I know a lot of people
I know you don't. And
I don't.
As Finn's Brett points out in our Twitch chat room, and I know this from the dog fan in my life, dog fans are, because they've not beaten Alabama in this spot.
I was going to say, Mark, why wouldn't they be nervous? You know a bunch of dog fans. When have they won this game? Against this team.
That's the key.
Isn't
against
that
this team.
Florida State's biggest nightmare then for you? Is that what you're saying, Mark? Like if Bama looks good against Georgia and Florida State wins narrow.
If Bama beats Georgia and Florida State wins in a close game against Louisville.
What if Bama Georgia's close? Does it matter to you? Is it just
Bama's got to win.
Bama has to win.
Bama has to win.
Well, I know, but if Bama wins by a field goal and Florida State wins by a field goal.
Yeah, it'll make a difference to me, because here's what's working in Georgia's favor. Their last regular season loss, Bama beat them in the 2021 SEC title game. Their last regular season loss is the cocktail party in 2020. They've just rattled off 3 straight unbeaten regular seasons. 12, 12, and 12. I mean, their overall win streak's 29. Their regular season win streak, though, I think is 40.
And here's the other little thing that the committee did. Who's the highest 2-loss team in the poll? Missouri. Ole Miss is 11. It's a television show.
Who did Georgia beat this year?
Ole Miss and Missouri.
Yeah, they did. Yep. Yep. Who did Florida State beat this year? Now they beat LSU, who's ranked behind
Ole Miss and Missouri.
And Florida State's other big win was at Clemson. Now, I do think Clemson's in the bottom of the poll now. I think, didn't they squeeze them in?
23.
Yeah. And that helps.
It does.
And, Louisville, despite the loss, are still in the mid-teens, right? By the way, that's a disappointing loss. Ooh, man, if you're Louisville, best team you've had since Lamar. Got them at home. They're reeling. Ooh.
Yeah, that cost you a little bit of money. You probably got a good bowl game, even if you lose to Florida State. You might get a New Year's Six game if you're 11 and 2.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But
with
at
you.
10-3, that won't more than likely will not happen.
I mean, you're ACC number 2, so maybe that'll help. But yeah. Mm-hmm. So Bud Elliott in a little more than 10 minutes, and we will talk about that. Also have some fun with Bobby Petrino returning to Arkansas to call the plays. Listen, I don't have a problem with things like that. Listen, we're all, we all screw up. Things happen. If a guy was good, I would have brought Dan Mullen back to Mississippi State. They hired Jeff, Levy there and calling plays at Oklahoma, and he's, young, up and coming, probably deserving of a shot. That's fine. Dan Mullen won at Mississippi State. He had Mississippi State number 1 of the country in November. I know he can do pretty well here. He's got a formula. He looked after a certain kid. He developed them. He kept them. They got old together. He would say bowl eligible, really good. Okay, now we go back. Bowl eligible, make a run.
I don't know if in the portal world that's possible, if those players he was developing may have been plucked by other SEC teams.
I mean, they do have SEC money, though. I mean, Mississippi State does have facilities. There are very few schools in the SEC that don't. Hell, even Missouri. That's the thing that struck me, Mark. It had been a few years since I went to – it had been 7 years since I was in Columbia. Ooh, things are a little different in 7 years. SEC checks have definitely been flowing in those 7 years. Oh, yeah. They got facilities now. They closed in both end zones. They got the football building there. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's like, oh, you're in the SEC now, aren't you?
Hell, even Florida has facilities now.
I know.
Welcome to the party.
Now they just need players. So 20%, huh? Curious, 21,000 in the Twitch chat room. Do you agree with Mark? Do you think there's up to a 20% chance that Florida State can win and still not make the playoff? I'm much more worried about them winning. I think if they win, it's over. They're in. That for those that are as diehard Mark about, there's no way they're going to have a college football playoff without the SEC champion. That's how diehard I am in. There is no way a Power 5 team is going to go 13-0 and not make the playoff. I'm just as adamant about that.
Boy, oh boy. Then we really need Alabama to beat Georgia and Atlanta.
Well,
I don't know what to tell you. because Sunday at noon will be must-watch television if Alabama wins that football game.
got
If
that
Georgia
right.
wins, it'll be interesting television. If Alabama wins and Texas wins, oh.
You're right. Okay, the NFL pregame shows are not going to do well because the football fans are going to be sitting there at noon going, okay.
Now what are you going to do?
Show me what you got. Didn't that show used to be in at night? Didn't they used to do it at like 7 o'clock at night on a Sunday? I thought they did. I know lately they've been doing it midday. But anyway.
Committee actually will have work to do if Alabama wins.
Oh, yes.
If Georgia wins, it's pretty simple, I think. I mean, because if Georgia wins, Michigan wins, the Pac-12 champ, and Florida State. And if Florida State loses, you put Texas in there if they win.
Then it gets fun if Florida State and Texas lose. Does Ohio State get the 4 seed again? And Georgia's like, seriously? We got to play them again? They backed in last year. Those receivers still there? They are?
Yes, they are.
Damn.
The quarterback isn't, though. And this guy does not throw it nearly as well.
No, he does not. That's okay. Georgia's not nearly as good on defense either. Let's be honest. We'd all pay to see that game again, though, wouldn't we?
Damn right.
Goodness knows the ESPN would pay a lot of money to have it.
Yeah. If they had their way, they'd have Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia and just let all 4 go after it.
Hell, they'd throw Florida State and the Pac-12 on the sidelines. They'd get Texas and Ohio State in there with Michigan and Georgia. See ya. But Elliott next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices informed.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, bud. Good morning.
Going on, guys?
How was Thanksgiving in the 239?
It was great, man. We just it was awesome. My dad got all the Areca palms, replanted around the backyard after the hurricane, so it was just really, good spot for the kids to run around, and weather was, that was just Chamber of Commerce weather, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was so nice. How was y'all's?
Fantastic. Got to play golf with my kid on Friday.
There you go.
That's all good stuff.
Nice.
14 people at our house, none of them invited. It was interesting.
Oh, okay.
It went surprisingly well, but it went so well. People are now talking about this needs to be a yearly thing. I want to move.
Oh man.
My favorite though, Bud, is my mother and my mother-in-law are, 180 politically. They could not be more opposite of one another. And my mother-in-law and my mom and my wife's cousin are all, as my wife and I are doing dishes, they're all talking in the dining room, and you're hearing subjects come up. My wife and I are cringing. And every once in a while, my wife would go, "Hey, Mom, can you come here for a second?" Never came in once. Never listened, never acknowledged, just kept on with the conversation. Everybody's fine, but I'm like, oh, no, not this. No, another. Change the subject, please.
Bad. No, it was a good time. We had fun with it.
Good for you.
Excited about this weekend, like a couple pretty good ball games.
I'm jacked. And I hate to say it, we were just talking about it. It gets really exciting if Alabama wins.
Oh, yes, it does. It really does.
Yes.
Dave, where are you at this week for NFL?
Jacksonville.
There you go.
But 10 straight nights I'm sleeping in my own bed. I'm doing the SEC title game as a day trip. And so I'm very excited.
That is awesome.
Smooth Tulane, by the way. I actually like that game.
I kind of like Smoo a little bit because I don't think this quarterback for Smoo is that good.
Wait,
like the one who's hurt.
Oh, wait, you said you like Smoo a little bit, but you don't think the Smoo quarterback is that good.
The Smoo quarterback who got hurt, I'm not convinced he's actually that good.
Okay.
But I'm not sure the downgrade,
is that much of a downgrade.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see though. I like Michigan.
Wow.
I know it's an ugly number, but
okay. I'm glad you brought the number into play here. I thought you were really.
It kind of breaks the model,
some real insight there.
Like the total for this, like the model is going to spit out a total of like 31 or 30.5, which is just insane. And like these super inept offensive games are just kind of weird as far as how you have to bet them. But I do kind of think it's it's interesting. How often do we think Iowa's going to go 3 and out?
Over under 6.5
or a turnover. Yeah, and right. And I mean, realistically, they're probably only going to have 11 possessions, maybe 10.
Over under 6.5 punts. Do you go over?
I definitely go over 6.5 punts plus turnovers, but I don't know about just punts.
By the way, where would Iowa be ranked if they didn't call the fair catch?
I mean, definitely. What
would they be 9th? Would they be ahead of the 2 lost teams?
I think they would have to be almost, just because the committee does. They basically just stick with the law.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's our final segment along the network on a hump day, and that means Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports HQ, Cover 3 podcast, No Cast. Anything else you've added since the Thanksgiving holiday? Anything else?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Bud Elliott, the number 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, Bud Elliott 3. Hope you had a good holiday, by the way, with family.
It was great, man. back in the 239, weather was awesome. Got to see the folks. They got a lot of good grandkids time. Got to see my sister. She brought her kid down. It was awesome.
That's great to hear.
All right, bud. Championship week. What has you most excited about championship week?
I mean, look, honestly, this is the chalk answer, but I think Bama, Georgia, just for the level of athlete on both teams. If you cover recruiting like I do, you see a lot of these kids rise up through the ranks, and these are probably the most talented top to bottom rosters in the country. So to see them clash,
even more so than Ohio State.
Ohio State's probably the one that's in the conversation, right? It's those three to me, top to bottom, and then kind of a little gap between that sort of next clustering of teams. But yeah, that's a good point. I like the speed on defense. I think the ability to cover in the back end here. Whichever team scores is going to have to make serious plays one-on-one because they don't bust a lot of coverages and everybody can run.
By the way, I'm just curious, when you take those three teams' rosters, how far away is Michigan from joining that group? He's been doing a really good job recruiting. We know there's a lot of guys on this team that are going to play on Sunday, but have they started to close the gap, or has anybody started to close the gap with those three?
There's a little bit of concern currently among Michigan fans that their recruiting has not quite benefited enough from what the on-field has been doing recently. And my thought is, Michigan's a really good developmental. They're a developmental program that also recruits at a high level. I don't want to make them out to be Iowa State, but they don't necessarily always chase the 5 stars. They want guys that fit their program. I talked to a coach who faced Ohio State and faced Michigan. He's like, Ohio State's top end guys are better, but Ohio State's lower end guys are worse. Michigan seems to have a higher floor across their starting lineup. But I said it on Cover 3 the other day. I do think Oregon, in pretty short order, is going to have a better roster than Michigan. And that is interesting for Big Ten implications, right? Because Oregon is recruiting extremely well. I don't know that Michigan has capitalized quite as well as their fans would have wanted them to within the conference based on the recent success.
Well, and we'll have plenty of time, and we will dive in coming months about the teams that are going from one conference to another, how their rosters will look, and obviously the portal will greatly influence that. Do you think the committee got it right last night? And do you think that last night's poll has legs?
I think it's what it did was justifiable. Is probably the best way to put it. You could tell me that you have Texas over Oregon or Oregon over Texas. I think dropping Ohio State, makes some sense within the historical patterns that the committee shows, right? They generally reward all the undefeated teams, and then they go to the one-loss teams and they rank them. Whoever lost last typically gets punished because it's sort of, it's better to lose early. The history shows via the committee. Whether it should be is probably a bit of a different discussion, but I think I'm mostly okay with what they did. If FSU wins and gets in, they'll probably put them as the 4 seed. And I don't really have a problem with that, honestly. I think that's probably justified if they put them in. So, I'm mostly okay with what they did.
You've said if they put them in twice. I, in the last segment, said I think there's a 20% chance, a 1 in 5 chance that Florida State can win and not make the college football playoff. What % chance would you put it at if Florida State wins that they do not make the college football playoff?
Probably, I don't know, 5%, 10%. It's a non-zero chance, but I don't think it's a great chance, right? Because you have to have certain teams. I don't think they would put Texas in over them, right? So you'd probably need Bama to upset Georgia, and you need Louisville, right? I think that's probably the one.
But if Bama wins and Florida State wins close, is Florida State in?
I still think they probably are because everybody in that room doesn't want to cast the vote. It's hey, I rep this Power 5 conference that's not the SEC. Are we really going to set the precedent of leaving out a Power 5 undefeated team, right? It's sort of if we do this, what's it going to mean for my league? If I'm a Big 12 vote, or if I'm another 80 in that room who reps a team that could go undefeated, right? So there's some self-interest there. They've never left out an undefeated Power 5 team. I think they have a little cover because Bama would have lost at home by double digits, right? And, the games have to matter type thing. But, I definitely understand the argument, and if if FSU looks bad again, then I think that like they would have an argument. Well, we have to be honest about this.
Would you, let's just say Florida State looks against Louisville in a winning performance the way they did against Florida, and Bama wins, and that's the win of the year, no matter what the score is, no matter how they do it, no matter if they complete another 4th and 31. It would be the win of the year in college football, okay? And Florida State looks the way they did last week.
Well, so I would push back a little bit. I think if Bama wins and beats Georgia, doesn't that make Texas's win over Bama better?
Well, you're talking to the wrong guys, because we would not put Alabama in ahead of Texas.
Right.
Okay. But the committee, I will say, the committee does have precedent, whether they need it or not. In 2016, Penn State won the Big Ten, beat Ohio State in doing so. They put in Ohio State instead of Penn State. Now, Penn State did have 2 losses, and Ohio State was 11-1, but they literally put, they had a head-to-head comparison in the same conference and didn't go with the champion and the winner of the head-to-head matchup. So the committee does have some, hey, we can kind of do this however we want. We did it 7 years ago.
The only pushback I would have on that is I think it's a lot easier to do if we're separating between, hey, they have 1 blemish versus 2. I think if you're undefeated, there is sort of just that 0 carries weight in the minds of committee members.
Well, no, but I'm talking about the Alabama-Texas comparison.
Oh, sure.
No. 12-1 conference champions. The one school beat the other. We think they're going to put in the other.
Right. No, that's fair. I think if you had a similar outcome to what you had in Florida, FSU is probably safe because Louisville's defense has been pretty good overall in the season. And that means you have a lot of like your defensive stars stepping up again, right? Like that, if you're trying to make the argument in the room, it's like, hey, Jared Verse, 2 sacks, Pat Payton, 2 sacks, like legitimate NFL guys on the outside making plays. Trey Benson is an NFL back. Like you got receivers stepping up, Keon and Johnny Wilson type thing. So I kind of think if they win, they're pretty safe, unless it's like 7-3 defensive score, offense can't do anything type thing. And then I think you have some cause there.
Any of these championship lines out of whack to you? Oregon 9.5, Michigan with a huge number. Is there a number that when it came out surprised you at all?
I am going to probably bet some Oregon alt line, like -17 at plus money. Just with, I'm a little concerned that Penix is hurt. Right. I think the way this line has been trending suggests this is more than just poor play from Washington. And I think Oregon does have some incentive to run it up. So, especially because they won't know the result of like the Bama game, and whatever else could happen. So if he's actually hurt, Oregon's got the incentive to get Nix the Heisman. Oregon's got the incentive to make sure like they get the playoff seeding that they want. I'm going to play a little Oregon alt line. I'm going to play some Michigan. I know that sounds odd because Michigan doesn't really score a whole lot of points, but I think that the number of times Iowa's going to punt or turn the ball over is going to be, I think, pre-going live, we were saying 6.5 times. I would expect a lot of good field position for Michigan, despite the fact that Iowa's punter is really good. So those are the 2 that stand out to me the most. And I would consider some FSU. This was 4 earlier. Louisville got bet at 4. I understand the move. I think it's justifiable on the number, but at the same time, I think if you wanted to bet Louisville, you kind of missed the window a little bit. Like that was the time.
The Florida State Louisville number's down to 2.5. Michigan's a 23.5 point favorite on Iowa. Oregon's up to 9.5 favorite over Washington.
I think that'll go to 10, by the way. Like I think people will be betting Oregon today. So if your audience wants the Oregon side, I would go now.
Your thoughts on Alabama, Georgia? First off, as a game, never mind as a bet. The money so far has come in on Georgia. It opened at 5. It's now 6.
I bet some Georgia last week at 3. So very happy to have that in pocket. Now, as far as the game, how much do we believe in this Bama offense? Because I think the game against LSU, Bama was one of my biggest bets of the year. LSU had all 4 corners out. They were playing a bunch of true freshmen in the secondary. They also had Wingo out, their stud D lineman. Kentucky's kind of a mess this year. They crushed them. Auburn's defense is probably the best defense that Bama's faced in quite a few weeks, and they put up a good number on them. So maybe this offense really is fixed. Maybe they're really dialing in with Milroe. How much of that works against Georgia? I think Georgia's defense is really good, but it's not crazy discipline compared to like the last 2 years. You can get some runs on Georgia occasionally. Auburn did some with the quarterback run stuff. That's obviously what Bama wants to do. I don't hate the matchup for Alabama, actually, right? Now, defensively, it's hard to run at Bama going straight ahead. Usually you're getting them with some misdirection stuff. Georgia doesn't do a ton of that. Can Georgia's receivers make plays? I'm pretty high on Carson Beck. I think that he's a legitimate quarterback, and I think Georgia will find a way to convert third downs, to win the passing downs. Because I think Bama will create some explosives, but in third and long type stuff, despite what we just saw in the Iron Bowl, that has not been Alabama's strength. And I think that's probably where Georgia pulls away.
Yeah, I'm with you on Carson Beck. I think that with Brock Bowers getting hurt, it forced Carson Beck to not have his crutch. And I mean, who wouldn't want that crutch? He's one of the 3 best players in college football. We'd all throw to Brock Bowers if we were the quarterback. But when that was taken away from him, to me, Bud, he learned how to use the rest of his offense and became a much more dangerous passer. And that's where I see the advantage for Beck in this game. I don't know about you.
Totally. The other question I have is, like, Georgia kind of disrespected Georgia Tech with how many starters it held out of that game. I think they're like, hey, we got this. We understand Georgia Tech can't hang with us from a physical perspective. We're going to rest a lot of these guys. It was sort of like load management. It was a little bit disrespectful, honestly. And yet they won the game, and they were never really in danger of losing it. I don't think. Like, it was close because they couldn't pull away. But in watching that live, did you guys ever really feel like Georgia was in serious jeopardy?
Oh, no.
Right. So probably a good decision by Kirby, actually. So how many of those guys are actually hurt, and how many of those guys were being load managed? I'll be watching the lineups just to make sure, because if like a number of those guys that didn't play are actually like legitimately hurt and not playing, then it does change my opinion on the game, because I don't know that the roster you rolled out against Georgia Tech should be favored over Bama. They're going to get some of those guys back, though, I think.
Press for time. Best chance of an upset, for what it's worth, I'm going UNLV, basically a home game in Vegas against Boise in the Mountain West.
I could see that. Boise's not trustworthy at all. I will give you SMU. I don't think that the quarterback drop-off without quarterback Preston Stone for SMU is actually that big. The Jennings kid is not terrible. I mean, Tulane looked a lot better last week. They were aided by 5 turnovers. But I think SMU has legitimate athletes and can still play with them with the backup quarterback.
How big of a loss is it for Georgia? They're going to lose their DB coach, who's an ace recruiter, to Syracuse.
If they didn't have Muschamp and Kirby on that side and Glenn Schumann, probably really big. I think it's a moderate loss. Like, Frank Brown's a hell of a coach, and he's also a good recruiter. It's hard to find a guy who's really good at both, and he is. So, like, that'll hurt the program.
The Gators got rid of 2 defensive assistants. The thought is that they actually got rid of the recruiters as opposed to the coaches. Is this a smart move by Billy?
I think it's a move that Billy has to make if he wants to keep his job, right? Like, you generally get to fire some assistants before you get fired yourself. At this point, given next year's schedule, I would expect Napier to be fired next year. But, I mean, now you have to convince a guy, hey, you want to move to Gainesville for what is fairly likely to be a 1-year stint? Now, we'll give you a 2-year guaranteed deal, but...
And, by the way, we'll face 11 Power 5 schools next year. We open with Miami. You want to come?
7 of them will be ranked.
Yeah, you get 8 SEC games, no Vanderbilt, and you get Miami, UCF, and FSU in the non-conference.
Correct. Right.
That's just tough, man. We'll see.
Toughest schedule in the country, probably. But Elliott, the 24/7 CBS Sports HQ, Cover 3, no cast, Twix, Bud Elliott number 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, Bud Elliott 3. That's how you follow him. Bud, all the best. Enjoy the weekend.
Yes, sir. Talk to you guys next week.
Bud Elliott, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. He's not picking a lot of upsets.
No, and he's picking Oregon to blow out Washington.
Yes, he is. I don't think they have to blow them out, by the way. I think a win and they're in.
I agree. Back to the matter is, they're much better at the line of scrimmage. They outplayed Washington the last time. They turned the ball over.
Well, and the coach was an idiot. He passed up the,
right,
2 field goals. And they lost by 3. Hey, along the network, thanks for joining us. Stay warm today. Never thought I'd say that before. Bonus hours next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, actually, CBW, he's a guy who's got extensive ties to that region and from a recruiting standpoint.
Do we have any idea what Corey Perry did?
It now has come out that he mistreated a team employee is what it sounds like it happened. Don't know if it was verbally or what have you. Don't know if he got into a confrontation. I haven't been able to find out if it was verbal or physical.
Gotcha.
With a team employee. But it is not what the internet rumor was. Even the general manager, came out and said, listen, I'm not going to tell you what he did, but it ain't that. He said that's just wild. Listen, he'll get picked up in a nanosecond. I mean, the Lightning would love to have him back. Plus, he's still getting paid by the Hawks. You know, he played for the Lightning for like $1 million and change. I mean, he signed a $4 million 1-year deal with the Hawks. So he can get the Hawks money and play for the minimum somewhere else. I'll bet you he goes cup chasing. He signs with the team he thinks is best. Oh, Sonny, don't you worry. Kentucky's going to be fine. There's the other thing, CBW, that could happen is, you know, when the ACC falls apart here, what's left, and it's going to be a boon for somebody. Yes, Spitz. We've been saying South Florida will be in the ACC for 4 months.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, on this hump day. Get over the hump time, putting last week to bed, moving on to this coming week. Conference championship Saturday. Have to admit, I'm a little more fired up for this conference championship weekend than I am for most, because there's a couple of upsets that I think are in play. You know, there are very few upsets, Mark, normally in conference championship weekend. Very few normally. But Florida State's only a 2.5-point favorite over Louisville. Georgia's only a 6-point favorite over Alabama, of all teams. You know, we've got some, you know, Michigan's going to win, and you and I both think the Pac-12 champion's in. Okay, but, you know, we've got a couple of live plays here heading into the weekend.
No, there's no doubt. And, you know, got a texter at 21,000 who said, no way Alabama gets in. The fluke Alabama win has to be looked at as basically a loss. Well, they don't look at it that way. They look at it as a win. But I think Alabama's in if they win. I do.
But Elliott, for the record, we asked him last week. We did not ask him in the segment we just did. I texted him and said, hey, for the record, Bama wins. He goes, I think they'll be in. He goes, if it comes down to Bama, Texas, I think they'll go Bama.
And I do too. I wouldn't.
Right. And he said, you're asking me what you think will happen? I said, yes. He said, I think the SEC champion will be in. So
that's the key to all this, right? It's not necessarily what you would do or what you think is right, but right, wrong, or indifferent in the 4-team playoff, that's what's going to happen.
Well, it's the only sport that's determined by public opinion. So,
correct.
Yeah, I mean, trying to, you know, what your opinion, my opinion, Mark's opinion, it's what we think they will do. And we can try to judge it on what they've done in the past, But let's face it. I mean, they can make up their own rules. And you got to admit, I mean, we got teams here named Bama, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, potentially. I mean, if you're going to do things a little differently, you got to have a good reason. Those are good reasons.
The consolation bracket's really good right now.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
I mean, right now, the consolation bracket has Oregon, and they can get in if they win. Texas, Alabama, and Ohio State. That, as of right this moment, is the consolation bracket.
Do you guys think this is the deepest it's been in the
Yes.
4 team? Okay, I do too. I just don't want to be, play recency bias, but it certainly seems like there's the most potential scenarios here going into championship weekend.
And it's ironic because this is the 10th year, right? 10th year of 4. Yeah, we started in 2014. So we will have done 10 years of a 14 playoff. The semifinals have been largely disappointing. I think average margin of victory in the semifinals is 3 touchdowns. We actually got 2 good ones last year. I mean, Georgia, Ohio State was great. And we got an upset in the one semi, and Michigan made it close late, got within a score. I mean, the semifinals were tremendous last year. Probably the best semifinals, if you add the both, that the tournaments had. But, Mark, we like to say the New Year's Day Bowl back in the day. I mean, that Outback Bowl of Georgia, Ohio State, I mean, that could be something. That 11 a.m. Outback Bowl could be amazing.
Right.
Will it be this spicy beginning next year? I mean, anybody who's
not this time of year, but the playoff, I still think the playoff will be. I think we will be over the moon excited for home playoff games, for the opportunity for a 5-12 upset. It probably won't happen, but the fact that a Liberty or a Tulane could be playing their way into a tournament, I think there is a lot to look forward to. I think there's a lot, the rivalry week won't be the same, David. I think the college football playoff will be great. Great.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Liberty or Tulane? Who gets in? Liberty's unbeaten. Tulane's got the 1 loss at home to Ole Miss. They were forced to play their backup quarterback in the game. I mean, that's an interesting debate in and of itself. They're separated by 2 spots right now by the playoff committee. Tulane's 22, Liberty's 24. Oh, there's a lot here. I mean, in theory, now obviously you got Oregon and Washington, who next year will be in the Big Ten, but let's just play along at home here. So Alabama, if they lose, do they lose a home playoff game? If you know what I mean, next year, because right now they're 8. And in theory, 1 through 4 are going to get byes. 5 through 8 is going to be home. 9 through 12 are going to go on the road. So if Bama with a loss, do they? Oh yeah, they'll still be in the playoff, but will they go on the road?
But let's just use this year's, and I know it's not fair, and it wouldn't be that way because Michigan wouldn't be playing Iowa in the Big Ten championship.
No,
Michigan would be playing Washington. Oregon wouldn't be in the Big Ten championship. Oregon and Ohio State would be playoff teams sitting there waiting. The loser of Michigan. I mean, right now, 3 Big Ten teams would be hosting playoff games.
Ooh, I'm very excited about this. So let's see.
So
okay, wait, hold on.
Michigan plays
Washington would be the battle of unbeatens. Okay,
Georgia would be playing Texas in the SEC championship.
Wow, I'm very excited. Keep going.
Well, I mean, the other champion, Louisville and Florida State would still be the same, and Oklahoma State would be playing. Hell, I don't even know who Oklahoma State would be playing.
Well, let's see. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see who's because Oklahoma, no, because they're in the SEC. Who would it have been? Texas Tech? Texas Tech?
Or K-State? No, K-State.
It would have been K-State. Okay.
They were 6-3 in conference. Both K-State and K-State was 6-3. So I think that's who they'd play. Okay. There was a bunch of 6-3s.
And then we're deciding as to the 5th spot. All right.
But I mean, we already have Alabama in the SEC championship game. We already have the Michigan, Iowa. Iowa wouldn't be there. It would be Michigan and Washington. And Oregon and Ohio State would be sitting there getting ready to play home playoff games.
So the championship weekend wouldn't have a whole lot of effect on the actual field of play. It's just the seeding potentially.
It would have effect on the field of play for the Big 12 because the champ would get in.
Right.
It would have a big effect on Tulane and Liberty in their championship games because one of them gets in.
But Big 10 and SEC, it's not.
And quite frankly, going forward, that's what it's going to be. Since there's not divisions, you're never going to have the 12-0 facing 10-2 in theory. I mean, we did the math the other day. I mean, the Big 10 and the SEC are basically getting 4 every year. That's 8. The ACC will get 1, the Big 12 will get 1, and then the best of the rest will get 1. That's 11. So then it comes down to, is there a second team from the ACC or the Big 12 more worthy of a bid than the 5th team from the Big 10 or the SEC? And this year, I think the answer, basically, Louisville's loss last week would have been crushing.
Would have put them out.
Because Louisville would have been in position to lose the ACC title game and still be in the playoff, arguably. And the ACC could have gotten 2. Now, the only way the ACC would get 2 beginning next year is if Louisville posts the upset on Florida State. And then, to be honest with you, they'd probably stick it to Florida State. They'd put them on the road. They'd be seeded 9 through 12. They'd be like, all right, tough break, but you're going on the road. You're losing in the first round.
That's the other thing that's really interesting about this is next year, they'll be able to take into account that their quarterback's hurt and they're probably not one of the 4 best teams, but they've got a donut. So they might slot them down to, like David said, make them go on the road.
Or not give them the bye.
Right. Yeah, give them a home game, but say they're the 5 or the 6. And put an Oregon at 4, a Texas at 4, or a Bama at 4.
Well, and give it 2 years of this in which the teams that are getting the byes versus the teams that are getting the home games, and which schools are going to decide which do they want more, the bye or the money. Mark, what is it that people normally decide at the end when it comes down to money or something else?
Well, they decide on the money, David.
Which is why I don't think it stays 12 very long. Because I think what's going to happen is the 1 through 4 schools, and think about who those schools will usually be.
Ohio State, Alabama,
right, Michigan,
Georgia,
right, Texas, potentially.
Florida gets their act together. They're not going to want to have a home game.
Right. So let me get this straight. We don't get a home, we get a bye, we don't get a home game, and then we got to go play in some stupid bowl instead. So Atlanta gets the money when we play the quarterfinal in the Peach Bowl instead of my community getting the money. We're the best team in the country, and we don't get a home game, and my community doesn't get the millions of dollars of economic impact? Really? How about we go to 16? Like you do at every other level of football. And then this way.
Wait for it. We all get a home game.
I get the money.
I get both.
I get the money. Uh-huh. And you get to make other people happy because there's 4 more bids. ACC will get a second team. Big 12 will get a second team. Maybe we make room for both Tulane and Liberty. Who cares?
They're just sacrificial lambs that are going to come in and get whooped by a couple of big boys every year, and they'll get paid to do so.
And you know what I get? I get the money. And it's 4 more games for the networks to bid on. It's more what, Mark?
Well, that sounds, hang on, sounds like money.
We get the money.
Money, 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 money.
Thank you. Right. You're catching on.
We're teaching them. It's just a class. It's a television show to make money.
That's That's what it's about.
Those are the two things I learned today. It's a television show to make money, and the second thing I learned today is no one's going to hang up an NBA in-season tournament banner.
Correct.
That is,
at least the Celtics won't. That's for sure.
Nobody will.
No one will.
Nobody will.
They'd be laughed out of their own building.
And rightly so. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when, and what's on tap? 25 minutes away on Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey, y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I got to keep an eye on the queue, and I'll just start putting in the other 60-second Diamond District ads. We're doing a max of 2 Ben Allen per show. And every time it plays, I'm just like, oh, shoot.
Let's talk Tiger here.
We got the volleyball coach.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm calling them, David?
Yes.
Correct.
Okie dokie.
Oh, that's right.
Mark wanted to talk a little golf.
We always want to talk golf. In the market that we're in, and the markets that we're in.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You're not going to hear any complaints from me. Right before I joined you guys, I would like listen to you guys, and the Ryder Cup shows were hilarious. Mark was so pissed off.
Oh, God, did we suck?
God, I leading up to it, I was just so Mark. Where are they playing?
Yeah,
Mark. What does that mean? It means you're going to lose, Mark.
You should have wagered some money on that.
I'll keep doing it till they win. It is me, isn't it, Yinzer? Golly, I'm serious. It is going to be my mission. I know somebody at Florida Blue. She's looking into it. I got to find out.
Who was it earlier who said you need to get NIL money
Right.
like this? You're getting cheated.
My wife is honestly, my wife sent a text to her mother-in-law that said, "Is there a secret you haven't told us about?" After sending a picture of that person. And my mother immediately went, no, the eyebrow.
That's, it's funny, Mom Moulton, the eyebrows. That was the first thing I said. It's not him.
It's the first thing I saw in which I said, I don't think the eyebrow completely matches up. I didn't think the mouth matched up. Okay.
Completely,
also,
but it's close.
It is close. Also, I think it's one there. He had 3 creases in his forehead, and I have 2. But the big crease we both have in the same spot.
Here's the thing. It was close enough for you to have to break it down this closely.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
Yes. The other thing is I'm going, last time I was at the sleep clinic, I don't know if I was that gray, but that's close also.
Right, because you missed a while ago since you've been to the sleep clinic.
Yeah, it's been.
By the way, somebody, just for the record, someone texted the show, said, would you like advice, David? Ask your ENT about a UPPP operation. It fixes sleep apnea, painful, and you lose weight. You can't eat for 3 weeks. I lost 30 pounds.
No interest. Can't eat for 3 weeks. Painful.
I gotta find out what my buddy did with these shots, though. He lost 65 pounds. 65 pounds.
Now that's different. Because I could say to the guy, listen, I did the cancer thing, lost a kidney, didn't eat for 10 days, lost 42. Let me tell you, after 10 days, I was about ready to pull over the side of the road and start chewing the bark off a tree.
That's not. Is this tonight?
No, tomorrow night.
And they get a hotel room for him? That's pretty nice of them.
Well, I think it's provided by the NCAA.
Really? Damn, Adam.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when it is all coming up, along with some final thoughts. We don't go here very often, but when they give you a reason, you got to go there. Matt Botsford's the head volleyball coach at FGCU. They just won their 3rd straight conference title. That means they're going back to the NCAA tournament for the 3rd time in a row, 4th time in his 10 years leading the program. And they're bussing to Gainesville right now. You on the bus?
We're not on the bus just yet. We got about 20 minutes, so enough time to chat with you two gentlemen, and then we're off.
Well, no reason to, wait to go into Gainesville just to talk to us, but I appreciate it. Follow Matt on Twix, Twitter/X at Coach Botsford, BOTSFORD.
Well, Matt, obviously the Gators, this is a big-time program. What have you accomplished this year? You've won the ASUN, but what makes you feel this could be the year that you can take out a big seed in the tournament?
Yeah, I think, we lost 6 starters to graduation last year. So this is obviously a completely new team. But because of that, the style we play is very different. I think it's speed-based, precision-based. I think we serve really well and block really well. And those are 2 of the things that we would absolutely have to do at a high level to beat a team like Florida. So definitely within the realm of possibilities. All the players on the team recognize that, but we're going to have to execute really well.
Well, obviously the volleyball in Southwest Florida is phenomenal. What you've accomplished at FGCU, FSW's just gone, back-to-back winning volleyball championships. Is it the region, or is it just 2 really good coaches with 2 really good programs?
Well, at least one good coach. Thais is outstanding, so I can tell you that. Volleyball has grown tremendously throughout the country. I mean, it's the fastest growing sport participation-wise. You can see it now on television more than you ever have. But there's a good community here, good youth coaches in the area as well. So we've actually had a lot of success with our own program plucking some of that talent right here in Southwest Florida. So 2 of our starters, Lily Tessier and Skylar English, are from Barron Collier High School and ECS. And they're significant players to what we've accomplished here over the last couple of years and certainly this year. So it's a combination of all those things.
How do you maximize their ability without getting caught up in the moment? Because it's obvious that when you're in the tournament, sometimes the moment can be too big, but you want to make sure they embrace the moment. How do you kind of weave that into this week?
It's difficult. There's no doubt. I think our history plays in our favor. You know, the first year that we ever qualified for the NCAA tournament in 2018, we upset the number 13th ranked UCF Knights on their home floor. And since then, every first round match we've had, we've been able to either win or make it a very interesting match. Last year, losing in 5 to Iowa State. So the girls can look back, some of them that did it directly, but even indirectly. Hey, with the way we play, again, the style that we compete is conducive to success at this level, regardless of who's across from the net. But then again, it's just about feeling good about where you're at. And the way we played through the conference tournament last week was the best volleyball we played all year. So we're reminding them that, showing them that, and hopefully that leads to putting ourselves in position to be successful.
FGCU went 26-6 so far this year. They're facing the Gators on their home floor. Florida's a 4 seed, so this would be a 4-13 tournament matchup, if you know what I mean. And if FGCU pulls the upset, you would play what, number 1 team in the country?
So if we get through Florida, we would go and get the winner of Georgia Tech, South Alabama. So based on seeds, obviously Georgia Tech's going to be a big favorite, but even that one, South Alabama's a mid-major that's had success. If you get through the weekend, we would be shipped off to Nebraska to play number 1 Nebraska on their home floor, and probably be about 14,000 people in the stand. So there's an awful lot to play for. That would be a heck of an experience for these girls.
How is it coaching in a 1-bid league? You know, you guys for the longest time, you would get to the finals, and you lost, I think, 2-3 straight years in the finals. So you were banging on the door. You finally knocked the door down. But, you know, like softball is the only ASUN sport, occasionally baseball, where that conference is going to get more than 1 bid. How much pressure then is being in a 1-bid league most years?
It's difficult. There's no doubt. I would say that a couple of the years that we won the tournament, we were probably positioned well to be considered a bubble team, but you certainly don't want to leave it up to a committee to make that decision. Our conference has steadily improved, so I do think that we have to schedule in a way collectively that gives our conference a chance, and so that takes some conversations with everybody. But right now, this is certainly not a year where that would have happened. So yes, going into that ASUN tournament, you got to win 3 matches. You got to be playing your best volleyball, because the top half of our conference can go out and beat Power 5 teams. They do it every year. So it is something that we've got to look at as a group and find a way. The Sun Belt is a good example of that. They've got 4 teams in this year, which is just 1 less than the Big Ten, which seems crazy. But we're so reliant on RPI and these metrics, you've got to learn. Gaming the system sounds like the wrong analogy, but we've got to find a way mathematically to make sure everybody's making the right scheduling decisions.
Final question. We just saw it with the FGCU women's basketball program last week. You know, they get whacked by Iowa, but then beat top 20 North Carolina the next day. Sometimes it's matchups. Styles make a fight. How do you like your matchup with Florida?
I really like the matchup, and that's the big message that we've been sending to these players. We figured it was going to be Florida even before the bracket came out, just because of the way they regionalize these brackets and seeding. So the girls have been prepared. They've seen them on film. They're familiar with some of the top teams in the nation. We went to Austin and played the reigning national champs, Texas, certainly for this kind of situation, so that we wouldn't be intimidated, and they won't be. Our girls are ready. They believe they can win. I believe they can win. It's going to take a special effort, but they can do that.
It's tomorrow night at 7:00. FGCU taking on Florida, first round NCAA tournament volleyball. Not sure if that's on you or what, but it's certainly available via streaming if you are interested. Hey, Matt, thanks for making time for us, 1, and 2, congratulations. You've done a tremendous job for 10 years now, and safe travels and enjoy yourself.
Thank you both. Really appreciate you guys promoting the university, the department, and of course the volleyball team.
Matt Botsford.
Pleasure.
He's done a tremendous job. Love the fact that he stayed. And hopefully he will, because he's got the program now in a spot in which it's like, 4 out of the last 5 years that they've been able to go to the tournament, or 4 of the last 6, they've gone. So, they're becoming a thing, Mark, if you know what I mean.
He was confident.
Yeah.
His voice was confident. And when you asked the question about the matchup, his voice was more confident than it was with any other answer that he gave. He believes they're going to win.
And he does have tournament success. As he mentioned, they beat UCF on their home floor, even though it was a few years ago. So this program can go to the tournament and win.
Love the fact that he's played some big-time teams as well and understands. We talked about this with basketball. The SEC had to do this a decade ago with men's basketball. They weren't the rankings weren't scheduling the right opponents. They weren't doing it the right way. They changed the way they scheduled to get more teams in the tournament, and it worked. And that's what Matt was talking about with FGCU's volleyball team. It's not just them, it's their whole conference has to schedule better.
See, that's the key. You can get the top teams to do it, but if the bottom teams are still scheduling badly, what do? They weigh down the entire conference RPI. You could also hear it in his voice in which he's a little disgusted that their sport's so reliant still on RPI. He's basically saying it's all about the numbers. There's no human element involved here.
That's the case with most non-revenue sports, David.
Yes.
That's not a volleyball problem. That's a college athletics problem when it doesn't come to the money-making sports.
FGCU, it's a sore subject because they've had a couple teams who, by RPI, should have gotten at-larges and didn't. They finally got their first at-large last year. I think it was men's golf. So think about that. They've been playing pretty good athletics for 20-plus years. They've gotten one at-large bid as an institution in 20 years.
Miller and Moulton, they just need a few more wins on the hard court now with the men's side. There's no RPI involved there. They just need W's.
Yes, they do.
The good, the bad, and the ugly today was a day when what's on tap. It's how we finish things out. Thanks for listening, Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. The vast selection of certified diamonds, priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, Jeff, we're well aware. Softball's gone back-to-back and volleyball's gone back-to-back. It's remarkable. They play what, 5 sports? Men's and women's basketball, softball, baseball, volleyball. Volleyball program's 3 years in existence. They've won 2 national championships. Amazing. She was worked for Botsford at FGCU.
It somehow got colder in the studio.
Oh my God.
No, like it's like literally like the air just popped on. It's just freezing in here.
I've got my door closed. I'm all toasty in here.
Yeah, you're on the warm side. You got all the equipment in there.
Yep. Had that door shut for the whole show.
Amount of coffee.
You could probably cheat from 6 to 8, Trent, if you needed to crack the door open and get some air in. But then once the people start arriving,
They don't show up till 8:30.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to use the restroom at 8:30. There was no one here.
Yeah.
They don't. This is a different world.
Yeah. Less people involved than ever before.
It's all because of AI.
No,
not
here.
Automation. I got to give the group down the hall credit. They must be doing something right.
Yeah.
I mean, he bails and the show was named after him and they take the show over and
didn't miss a beat.
I was going to say, apparently do it just fine. Good for them. And in a strange way, credit to him. He obviously put together a pretty good ensemble.
Yeah.
You want me to, because do you want me to book a golf guest for tomorrow to talk about Tiger?
I don't know if we need a guest for it.
Okay.
I mean, I was all just going to go to Guillermo, who listens to, we talked to before, listens. He DM'd me, name the bet. He says, over under majors for Tiger.
Playing or what?
Winning.
Oh my God. Name the Guillermo. Name the bet.
Oh, we made a stone crab dinner bet.
Oh, well, you're winning because he ain't winning. Guillermo, he's not winning a tournament again. Never mind a major. Please win a major.
Because he can walk. Once he can walk, Tiger's going to win a major.
Well, because he can walk on water.
Who's that guy think he is? Tiger Woods? Oh, my favorite golf joke. Jesus watching golf. This is old enough. I know it as Arnold Palmer. He sees Arnold Palmer going to the water, hit a shot. So Jesus is out playing and he hits the ball in the water. So Jesus, of course, walks across water to get to his ball. Guy in the group behind him says, who's that guy think he is? Jesus Christ? No, Arnold Palmer.
Nice.
It's my favorite golf joke. Now you just take out Arnold Palmer and throw in Tiger Woods.
Right.
It's like Jesus saves, but McDavid scores on the rebound.
Exactly. Thank you, Espo. Trent, that's what the church sign said in Boston in the early 70s when Esposito scored like 76 goals one year when nobody scored that many. It was Jesus saves, but Espo scores on the rebound.
That's great. I love when you occasionally see that kind of stuff. Or restaurants in college towns, they'll have like stuff on there. I don't know. It's fun. It's just sports, people.
Take a picture of your Lions shoes next time. I want to see them.
Okay, I will. I'll probably be wearing them on a football Friday.
I'll probably see him because I'll probably have him over to watch a game before the end of the regular season.
Yeah, we do have to do that.
We do have to do that.
Maybe I'll get. In fact, too bad they're not playing the Dolphins. I could have Philly and Trent over.
Oh my gosh,
it'd be great.
That would not go well.
Why?
Because we'd just be too fired up.
Well, that's a day that ends in Y.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton. 6 to 9, we're on the Florida Sports Network. 9 to 10, I mean, technically it's still the Florida Sports Network, but it's just for you in Southwest Florida, baby.
That's why we get a little FGCU volleyball talk.
Yeah. We go local from time to time, and we do it in the 9 o'clock hour. Why? Because we're local.
With a capital L.
KFGO and Fargo in the late 90s, Mark, their slogan was live, local, and late breaking. So I always think about it. Whenever one of the stations talk about we're going local, I go, we're going live, local, and late breaking. Nobody's going to out local us.
Well, that was late breaking. They've been in the tournament for a while. We had them just before they got on the bus.
Well, they only got in the tournament like a week ago.
Well, I know, but
we waited. But yeah.
I'm surprised they're leaving the day before. I thought this would be a day trip.
Come on now. Do you know? All right. I think I told this story once before. So this is FGCU men's basketball. Is the Dave Ball's the original head coach, and he decides they're playing at Stetson. And they're playing the second game of a doubleheader, and he decides he's going to day trip it. And so the bus leaves, and, it's 4 hours. They take their time, what have you. It's 4 hours, and you want to get there about 90 minutes before the game. 2 hours, 90 minutes before the game. Yeah, on the I-75 portion, about 80 miles into the trip, bus breaks down. Uh-oh. It's
never broke down in all my hockey trips on a way to a game. I broke down several times on the way home from games.
But never on the way to?
Never on the way to a game.
No. They were late, and Stetson was very annoyed. They had a running clock, and Stetson's AD informed Dave Balza, if you guys aren't on the court when it's 0-0, it's a forfeit. It was homecoming. They had a big crowd, and they were annoyed. They pushed the game back a half an hour. 5 guys, not fully dressed, come running out of the locker room. Okay, literally, a jersey on backwards, a guy with a different jersey on, wrong shorts. They got 5 guys out for the introductions. Mark, I'm doing the starting lineups. It ain't 3, it ain't 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. It was like 3 bigs, a wing, and a shooting guard. That's who made it onto the floor. That's who played and literally, as guys were coming out of the locker room, Balza was inserting them into the game. Took about 7 minutes to get the starting lineup on the floor. They lost in overtime, by the way.
I've seen it in a lot of ECHL games, and I've been late, not that late as a broadcaster. I've been where, I've had to run up to the booth. The players had to run to get dressed, but never where there was because traffic and, doing it in the north,
sure.
Weather, things like that. So I've been close. I did have a 6-hour bus trip home take 27 hours because of a bus breaking down.
Oh, wow.
We were at a truck stop in Knoxville for 20 hours. There's only so many times you can walk through the truck stop, David.
Yeah, really? Is the food any good?
No.
Truck stop food back then is not as good as truck stop food is
Got
now.
that right.
You weren't at a Buc-ee's, baby.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1890 we start. The first Army-Navy game.
Oh, wow.
Navy 24, Army 0 at West Point. 1910, the first U.S. patent for inventing the traffic light system is issued. 1924, the Montreal Forum opens. 1926, Tris Speaker resigns as manager of the Cleveland Indians while facing game-fixing allegations. Today in 1933, the first state liquor stores are authorized. They're in Pennsylvania. They still have state stores in Pennsylvania. They haven't caught up to the rest of the world yet.
Nope. Closing time was 2 a.m. then. Closing time's 2 a.m. now.
Today in 1944, Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore performs the first open heart surgery. Today in 62, Major League Baseball decides, you know what? One All-Star game a year is enough. After 4 seasons in which 2 All-Star games are played, they go back to just 1 All-Star game.
What's noteworthy is the first year of the double All-Star game, I think, was 61, right? When was this?
62.
Oh, thought it was 61. My bad.
Today in 63, LBJ sets up the Warren Commission.
That, by the way, universally respected. Everybody took their findings and said, okay, let's move. Nothing to see here. Let's move on.
A great day today in 1972. Nolan Bushnell, the co-founder of Atari, releases Pong, the first commercially successful video game, at Andy Capp's Tavern in Sunnyvale, California.
Changed the world.
Damn right it did.
Changed my life.
Pong, a square box going between 2 rectangular boxes, and we couldn't get enough of it.
Boing.
Bing.
Boing.
Bing.
Boing.
President Ford signs the Education for All Handicapped Children Act today in 1975. Who says he didn't do anything good? Not much. Reggie signs a free agent contract with the Yankees today in 76. Today in 87, Bob Froese to me, Bob Froese to the rest of the world, becomes the second goalie to score a goal. Did so while playing for the Rangers against the Islanders. I don't often go here, but there's a reason why. Today in 92, the Calgary Stampeders win the Grey Cup, defeating the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Your MVP?
Doug Flutie.
You're damn right. Adele released Rolling in the Deep today in 2010. It was the song of the year in 2011. And Matt Lauer was fired today in 2017 from the Today Show. Doesn't that seem like that was a longer time ago than just 6 years ago?
Well, lots happened.
I know.
The last thing he did for NBC was the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And he kind of knew as he was doing it that I don't think I'm going to be back next week. By the way, 25 million people watch that. We talk about
2 of them were my wife and my mother-in-law. Couldn't get it on fast enough, David.
Totally. My wife
excited. In fact, trying to choose which network they were going to watch the parade on.
Yep.
And I want to watch football pregame. I want to listen to music, anything but the parade. But you know what we had on, David? We had the parade on.
You're damn right you did, Mark. You're damn right
to watch a lot of singers lip sync.
And every word that was said was completely scripted and on a prompter. Oh, yeah. It's the most heavily produced television show of the year, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The only thing that's impromptu is the elements.
Miller and Moulton, not fans of the Macy's Day Parade.
No, but let me tell you, it ain't going anywhere. It ain't going anywhere. They'll cancel the NBA before they cancel the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, okay?
Money, 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 money.
Got that right. They print it with that sucker.
They're learning.
Vince Scully was born today. Neil Broughton is 64.
Oh,
Howard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I thought
Well,
that
but
might
think about it. I mean, it was 43, almost 44 years ago now. I mean,
Howard Johnson's 63, the baseball player.
you mean not the hotel
Right.
chain?
Actor Tom Sizemore is 62. Actor Andrew McCarthy is 61. Mariano Rivera is 54. Russell Wilson's 35, and Stephon Diggs is 30.
Don't you think Rivera could still come out of the pen and get a save?
Yes.
I mean, come on. He threw one pitch. I mean, you think he lost it? I mean, just a couple of weeks to work out, get in shape. I mean, don't you think the Yankees one year, it's late in the season, they're having trouble in the bullpen. They call him up on September 1st and say, listen, we'll give you a month, get in shape. We need you in October.
What did I miss?
2 famous deaths today. Natalie Wood drowned today. Or
she was thrown off a boat.
Or was murdered by her husband, Robert Wagner. One of the
Whichever one you want to go with.
Right. Her family is pretty convinced it's the latter.
As a matter of fact, they are.
Yeah. And George Harrison died 22 years ago today.
Have you guys seen his the celebration of life that was on the concert they did?
Yes.
And Prince plays While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and he kills it.
That was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tribute.
Yes.
To Harrison
yes.
when they did that.
Epic video.
Well, Prince playing the guitar. I mean, the famous story they asked Eric Clapton once, about how is it to be the greatest guitar player in the world, and he said, "I don't know, ask Prince." And if Eric Clapton's saying that about the guitar, I think you're pretty good.
That video in which Harrison's kid's playing as well, and George Harrison's kid, the faces he's making watching Prince of awe is the best part of that to me. I start watching him just smiling and just totally getting into watching Prince play his dad's song and just kill it. Very cool.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Give it up to the sanitation workers in New Hampshire. They went digging through 20 tons of trash to locate a resident's lost wedding ring. They found the right bag after 2 hours after the search began, grabbed the ring, brought it up, and found the lost wedding ring, digging through 12 feet of trash.
How many people?
2 workers.
Wow.
Impressive.
How much money you got to give them when they show up? Come on.
500
each?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
for the bad, we go to Florida, where Caleb Phillips was arrested on a failure to appear charge and was taken to jail. When they were trying to put him in jail and he was taken out of his civilian clothes and put into jail clothes, they noticed a cylinder in his underwear. The cylinder contained meth. He claims that someone placed it there while he was asleep.
Right. Yep. It's like how they took pictures of me, and that's why I'm in the Florida Blue ads. It happened during my sleep.
Finally, the ugly, we go to North Fort Myers, where Patricia Mominy crashed into a man's car in the Publix parking lot. Then, when the victim tried to speak to the woman, she fled the scene. He began to follow her while calling law enforcement. The woman hit a dead end, got out of her car, and took 3 cinder blocks from the driveway and threw them at the victim. One hit his shin. Police did show up, arrested the woman who was hammered, and took her to jail.
That's a shock.
She did connect with 1 cinder block, cutting the man on his shin. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, November the 29th, 2023.
3 hockey games tonight. Rangers Red Wings at the Garden. It's on TNT. Is Kane playing, or does he have to play his way into shape? What are we doing?
I don't think he's playing tonight. I can't imagine that he would.
Adam Fox, I think, returns for the Rangers tonight. He's been out almost a month with the knee injury after the cheap shot by Aho. Did I say that? Orlando's hosting Washington. Okay, is this one of those? Orlando's won 7 in a row. They're a 9.5-point favorite. The Wizards are 3-14. Do we load up on the Magic tonight?
9.5 is a pretty big number.
All they have to do is win by double digits against the second worst, third worst team in the league.
Hey, that number should be bigger. The only reason it's not is because they just beat the Pistons by 20.
Well, and I don't know how Orlando's going to be affected by not making the not making the in-season tournament, David.
That's true. They might have a little bit of a hangover there.
I know their fan base is very emotionally distraught. And basketball tonight. Do we still have more ACC, SEC?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee, North Carolina, early 7 o'clock-ish on ESPN. You know, Duke, Arkansas, 9-ish on ESPN.
A&M in Virginia. Florida plays Wake Forest. The Gators are a 4.5-point favorite.
Give me Arkansas tonight. That place gets crazy. Musselman's nuts. He'll take off his shirt. He'll run around.
40 minutes of hell.
Well, that was back in the day. They're trying to do that now. It's more like 23 minutes.
I was going to say 40 minutes of heck.
Yeah, the good one. That's what they should come up with, those shirts. Miller and Moulton. We'll do it tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.